We are Atheists On Air. I'm Cash, and I'm here with my co-host, Jen. This show is not for the faint of heart or those with sensitive ears. We use letters from the alphabet that when joined together appropriately, they make sounds that some have deemed offensive. It is why we have the explicit tag. Claiming you are offended is like saying to the world, I do not have control over my own emotions and would prefer you do it for me. Atheists On Air covers the gamut from drinking, drugging, sexing, and everything in between. If you would like to ask a question or leave a comment, please dial 828-565-1AOA. That's 565-1262. We welcome all, and especially our Christian friends. We often attack religion, but never the religious, unless they really deserve it. We are humanists, skeptics, and friends to all. We are not sexist, racist, or homophobes, and will verbally stomp a mud hole in your ass and walk it dry if you are an ignorant, racist, homophobic, fucktarded bigot. Check us out online at atheistonair.com. So button up, Buttercup. We are shaking faith.
Get ready.
We are brand new, and we want your input. Tell us what you'd like in a podcast and tell us what you don't. For the time being, we are just going to copycat some others. We don't really like the firebrand type atheism, so we are going to attempt to emulate the David Smalleys, from the Dogma Debate podcast. Something more mild and contemplative. If you listen to the opening, you know that I'm being facetious. I love David Smalley and I love what he does, but I am more the firebrand. I'm more like an ignorant firebrand, but holy shit, I want to cuss because there's times when cuss words work, and I found more often than not they work. I noticed that you had typed in, Jen, the word fuck, is it ever not appropriate?
Yeah, I thought you'd like that one because I find myself in certain circumstances where I go to use the word fuck and I'm like, ooh, is that inappropriate? And I wonder, is it something, that was drilled into my brain years ago that wasn't ladylike, or it's inappropriate, or it's offensive, but I find that the word fuck really is very clear about how I'm feeling in a moment.
Well, when I try to replace the words, you don't get the emphasis. So if you and I are in a conversation and I go, dag nabbit, I feel like I'm in an episode of Leave It to Beaver. And
I would probably laugh at you if you said dag nabbit. I would think you were being funny.
It doesn't have the impact. You tell someone to go jump in a lake, and even if you do it with the most egregious tone, and you say, listen, Jen, go jump in the lake, it doesn't have the impact as if I said, Jen, and you never have to worry about this, but if I said, Jen, go fuck yourself, because that has an impact.
That's powerful.
Well, it's powerful in America. You and I talked about this, I think, a while back, and we were talking about in the UK, if you say bloody and at the inappropriate time, that is the same as in America saying fuck. And so that, it's all it is just words, and it's sounds coming out of our mouth, but somehow we've chosen to make those sounds. These are offensive to me, and by golly, please don't use them because it hurts my soul. And I just don't get it. You can go to South Africa, and if you like, doing tongue clicks, you could actually piss someone off with your, stuff. You might have just told them that you wanted to fuck their wife. So I just don't get it. It sounds, I could be cussed out by somebody today from Zimbabwe. Well, because I don't know the language, probably not going to be so offended.
Yeah, it would mean nothing to you. And it's funny because, I let my kids have always been allowed to cuss at home. And they had to learn, going into kindergarten, first grade, et cetera, that there were certain words that they could use at home, but they weren't allowed to use in school. And it was to me, interesting, I guess, because of how quickly my kids picked up on what they could and could not say at school. But I've never really understood the whole curse word thing, like who decided which words were wrong and which words were okay. And which, by the way, the word bloody, I just think it's a bloody awesome word. Love that word. Great word. I think I'm going to start working that into my vocabulary a little more now.
But you have to do it with the accent. You know, you have to make that, to pull it off, to sound good, you have to do the bloody. And that's coming from, you know, a hillbilly perspective, that accent. So I'm sure that will be laughed at because I just can't pull off the British accent.
Accents are not my forte.
No.
You'd have to get a whole lot more drinks in me before that. Oh, the other night, game night. The atheist group had game night. And they were playing some game that I didn't understand because it had to do with like a movie that I'd never seen. And so I just watched. But someone played some card, and part of the game was everybody had to start using accents. It was awesome. That was the best part of the game for me. I just sat there and watched everybody use these different crazy accents, and it was so much fun to hear.
Now your son
try to pull off these accents.
Your son is like a master at pulling off different accents and different, I guess, impersonating someone. And he's going to be on the show soon, and actually come in and be a part of this with us, right?
Oh yeah, and he's going to come in as different characters. My husband and I joke all the time that it was all the years he spent in front of the TV as a kid. That's where it all comes from. But
is there any way you could get him to come in as that character from, I think it's the Mouse's Ear over in Knoxville, Tennessee? She's a redhead, and they call her Bambi. Is there any way he could come in as that character? Because I could get into the show a little bit more.
All you have to do is, show him a video of it, and I bet you, anything, he could totally pull that off.
Well, tell him to wear protection. Get his plan B. That'd be exciting to have him on. You just brought up the atheist game night. And what you're talking about is the Asheville Atheists.
It's
Western
WNC
North Carolina.
Atheists, but yes.
Okay, so it's WNC Atheists, and it's they're on Meetup. They also have a website. They are recognized by the American Atheists, and I've enjoyed. I wasn't at game night, but I had a daughter, and one of my military daughter was in town with the baby. And so we weren't there, but I know that I've been to the Heathen happy hour, and I got to tell you, if you're listening and you are in the local area, or if you don't mind driving 11 hours, we would love to have you because fuck me, is it fun? Bring condoms. Because people have known to get pregnant at these, and I'm just kidding, but we have had a blast. I've met some of the most amazing people. I met you there. The first time I met you was there. And what an amazing, I love the bar that they choose. And I know your son is the organizer. He heads up the WNC Atheists and schedules all the events. And I just want to invite anyone that's in the area that would love to come. We would love to have you.
And the game night, they're talking about doing it like twice a month because people really have fun at the game night. The first one I actually missed. I wasn't feeling well, but they played Cards Against Humanity, which again is a game I still have never played, but I keep hearing how awesome it is. And everybody had a great time, scheduled another one. And this one, usually the game night, it starts around 6 p.m. There's a great place called the Arcade in downtown Asheville. And it basically is a grown-ups arcade. It's got a bar in it. And at a certain point in time of the night, the video games actually become free. But they have all these tables set up with board games like built into the tables. And we bring games and hang out and have a great time. Well, this time, we started about 6 o'clock, and about, I guess, 9 or 10, a handful of us started getting trashed, and we wound up closing the bar down. We danced all night, had a great time. A couple of people actually, my husband wound up being DD, and so Stephen, my son, and one of the other guys from the group were throwing out the back seat of my car on the way to my house. And somebody else that was too drunk to drive all wound up staying at my house. And then we came back to my house, and I think we drank till about 5:30 in the morning. Well, not the two that were already throwing up. They went to sleep. But, oh, yeah, just absolute hysterical fun. I got some great pictures. And yeah, we just hung out and had a great time, and all woke up feeling like death the next morning. And WNC Humanist had a brunch that next morning, and so we all, not Stephen actually stayed in bed, but the rest of us kind of drug ourselves out of bed, showered, threw clothes on, and just kind of stumbled into Denny's for brunch.
Oh, my gosh.
But it was great fun.
I remember when I was younger and going into Denny's, at 3 a.m. after the strip club closed, and, the bus boys started looking good. And so I've got to say that, I've only been an atheist for about 5 years. And all of this is so new to me. For the first 4 years or 4.5 years, I didn't know any other atheists. I listened to podcasts and I listened to shows and I watched videos on YouTube, but I didn't know anyone. I couldn't relate to any of them. I couldn't talk to any of them. And it's kind of an alone feeling. And so when we moved to the area, my gosh, what a relief it was like to come into these groups. My first meetup group was the drinking, at the bar. And that was something I wouldn't have considered 5 years ago because, my gosh, that's against something. Some God has put a rule on that. And so I couldn't live. And, you talk about drinking and staying up till 5 and drinking, and people go, my gosh, these are losers. Well, no, Jen, I know enough about you to know you and your husband are military veterans, have taken in children, do all kinds of humanitarian projects in the area and support national projects. And so a lot of people that hear, oh, they drink? Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
And we don't just drink, we close bars down.
I'm going to pray for you. I had a cousin recently, she told me that she was going to pray for me. And I told her, I said, it's the very least you can do, but have at it. So and literally the least you can do. But I wanted to tell everybody, if you have access to a computer and you can get up on meetup.com and look up the WNC Atheists, the WNC Humanists, which Jen, who is with us, and she's not here tonight in her official capacity, but she's the president of the WNC Humanists. And then also we have the Skeptics group, which is ASK, A-S-K, and it's Asheville Skeptics. There is so much opportunity. If you feel it alone, if you're listening and you feel alone, you feel like nobody relates to you, how are you going to get out and find new friends? Meetup is awesome. Nobody's going to go post you on Facebook. We're all pretty good people. I mean, there's a couple of atheist baby eaters, but that's about it. And we'll point those out. We make them wear a scarlet letter. So
that's right. And they only eat babies on the third Thursday of the month.
Right. Well, I told my wife, I said, we have to be real atheists. We're going to have to start eating babies. And she suggested that we do it on the second Tuesday of each week.
That the main source of hatred in the world is religion and organized religion. Absolutely convinced of it. And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule and hatred and contempt. And I claim that right.
I don't know if you know this, Jim, but I wished you could have gone. I would have packed you in my suitcase, but I went to I got my cherry busted, and I went to Apostacon. And
I've heard that is like the best conference, like the most fun conference you can ever go to. I
was blown away that I was getting to stand amongst these people I had watched for 4 years on YouTube, meet people. But one of the ladies that I met, and I wasn't able to get her to my room. I did ride the elevator for 4 hours. 4 hours, mind you, waiting to be asked, to go up to a room, but nobody asked. If only Stephen would have been there. So, So anyway, I met this lady and she just rocked my world because, I want to get involved. I want to do something that helps others. I actually want to make a difference. And I know you already are. Well, I like politics a little bit. And not that I'm going to go run for office, but I didn't realize till I heard Amanda, and now she says her name incorrectly. It's actually Amanda Neath, but she pronounces it Kneath. And it's probably just a dialect thing. And I don't know her well enough yet to point out her flaw, but I absolutely enjoyed her talk. Well, then, as you know, I got to meet her again. And I got to talk to her more at the Carolina Secular Conference, which was just a couple weeks ago. And I was blown away. I had already purchased her book. She signed it. She didn't put her phone number in there. And I so badly, I thought, we had a connection. I could see something, but apparently not yet. And so I'm working my way up to it so that I can tell her about her name and that the K's silent like a knife. and I love her though, but she showed me that no matter who you are and no matter how timid you may be, you don't have to go talk to a politician to get things done. You can email them. You can call them. You can write letters. So it was like icing on top of the cake when I got to speak to her again at the Carolina Secular Conference. Now, you organized that and you got that set up, Jen, and I got to tell you, I was amazed. You were awesome. I don't know how you live on less than 30 minutes of sleep a day, but I think it's awesome. I'm not sure you're quite human.
So when I say that I think religion poisons everything, I'm not just doing what publishers like and coming up with a provocative subtitle. I mean to say it infects us in our most basic integrity. It says we can't be moral without Big Brother, without a totalitarian permission. It means we can't be good to one another. It means we can't think without this. We must be afraid. We must also be forced to love someone who we fear. The essence of sadomasochism. The essence of abjection. The essence of the master-slave relationship. And that knows that death is coming and can't wait to bring it on. I say this is evil. And though I do some nights stay home, I enjoy more the nights when I go out and fight against this ultimate wickedness and ultimate stupidity.
These conferences are so great, and they're one of the first kind. They're one of the first of its kind. The whole thing actually started several years ago in North Carolina. Joseph Stewart, he's one of the founders of Freethought Action Org. He had this idea of doing this billboard campaign in North Carolina from the mountains to the sea, from Asheville all the way to Wilmington. It was in quite a few cities across the state, and it was this one nation, indivisible billboard. That's all it said. It was a flag, and it said one nation, indivisible. And it was a brilliant idea. I thought it was a brilliant idea, but I never in a million years had any clue that it would get the press that it did. I mean, I got interviewed for the Diane Sawyer show. I got interviewed for papers at like the LA Times, the New York Times. It got picked up in like Japan and Germany and Australia. I mean, it was this little tiny billboard, this little concept just blew up. It was really amazing. And so the North Carolina Secular Association was formed. Well, you fast forward a few months, and then South Carolina got involved. And so now it's the Carolina Secular Association. And one of the things that Joseph really wanted was to have this conference in our area, here in the Bible Belt, where so many of us are already spread out, and you don't see a lot of national conferences come into our backyard. And so we had this idea for a conference, and Han Hills, who at the time was the president of the group there in Wilmington, started organizing it and put together this conference. And so this last one that I organized was actually the third one we've had. And it was amazing. And it, you know, when you're organized, the first thing you want to do is, well, I guess the first thing you want to do is find a place. But then you want speakers. And so I just started contacting people that I really respected, you know, thought they might have something great to say, and asked them to come. And it was amazing because each one of them that decided to come came back with their ideas, like what they wanted to talk about was this whole like coming out thing. The conference had never had a theme before, and so this year this is the first time we've had a theme. I have no idea if we'll have themes in the future, but we had this coming out theme. And the best part is the main speakers were all women, and it was not intentional on my part. But it was so great because I have been to conferences, and they can be more male-dominated, and so to have all these wonderful, strong, intelligent women as guest speakers was just absolutely fantastic. I had a wonderful time, and no, I didn't really sleep. But it's funny how adrenaline just kind of keeps you going. I did come home and crash pretty good once I got home, but it was just an awesome experience, and really excited because we're having it in the exact same place. It's the Hilton Executive Park in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're having it in the exact same place next year, so 2014, last weekend in September, we're going to do it all again. And I can't wait to see who we get as, speakers for next year.
You know what? One of the things that just I have in the last 5 years found out is that, one, I don't hate black people, and two, I don't hate gay people, but three is the biggest one, and that is that I fell in love with intelligence. And so when I hear someone that has the intelligence of Amanda Neef, or as she likes to say, Knief, I am in awe. And there was a lady there at this conference, and her name was Margaret Downey. And,
oh, yeah, Margaret's fantastic.
And you talking about, holy cow, turn me on intelligence. I couldn't stand up, for about 15 minutes after she got done talking, because she had two things going for her. She had intelligence, and she was beautiful. I mean, her legs started at the floor, and they went all the way up and made an ass out of themselves. She was gorgeous, and I was going, oh, my gosh. And so it was just an amazing, amazing time, because here I got the best of both worlds. Plus, I was amazed at the amount of intellectual and willing to come and out, and who are brilliant at putting out a message. You think, what in the world would an atheist talk about it at a convention? And you find out you've got all these wonderful women who spoke, and I was just in awe. I was in the mouth open and sometimes drooling awe. And so I can't wait for the next one. A year from now can't happen soon enough for me. And so I thank you. But, you just mentioned something funny, and I almost was going to call you a liar right on the air, is you said, yeah, I came home and rested. And I remember specifically because, it was only about 10 days ago. And so I remember you came home and the news that North Carolina was going to completely end the ability for children, babies, to get the WIC, to receive benefits from the federal WIC program because of the shutdown. And within 24 hours, you single-handedly, as far as instigated and organized a entire web page, announced it, spread it through the social media markets. It made it to the bigs like him at Meta's website, Friendly Atheist, and I could not believe what you did. You gathered all this stuff together, organized it, and created a way for the average person to help a child in North Carolina. And oh my gosh, mind blown completely that you did it, and so many people helped out. Could you share something? You don't have to admit that you lied about coming home and resting. And so,
well, it's funny because I was actually, I don't remember if I was sitting in my chair, like in my big chair with my feet up, or I was laying in bed watching TV, but I was on Facebook on my phone, which I'm on all the time. And Basil, who runs JUFA, Just Us for All, in Asheville, had posted something on his webpage about this, and there was some person, organization that was trying to collect information of people and groups around the country that could help in time of need. And I read that, and I looked at my husband, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit. If it wasn't for WIC, my kids wouldn't have eaten when they were little. I mean, even when my husband and I were first in the military as E1s, we weren't making much money, and we got WIC supplements. And that helped us be able to feed our children. And I thought, how can this country turn their backs on children? And I was just completely floored, which I found out later that North Carolina was actually the only state that froze their WIC vouchers. And so I had read that I'd gotten home Monday night and Tuesday night, close of business, or like 8 p.m., whatever it was on Tuesday, the day after I got home from the conference, that the WIC offices, I guess, were still technically open, but they didn't have any vouchers. And I thought, oh, that's bullshit. We can't do that. And so I emailed this person that Basil had put on the thing, and I said, hey, WNC Humanists will help, let us know what we can do. And almost instantly got an email back and was like, I need to know more about your group and what can you provide. And so I went to Facebook and I said, hey, WNC Humanists, we're a nonprofit. We're going to be collecting formula and donations. And I'm telling them, and so I put this on Facebook. I go back onto our website, and I'm trying to hurry up and update it and put a PayPal link. And I'm starting to get phone calls and private messages through Facebook and emails going, where do I donate? And I'm like, give me 5 or 10 more minutes. It's going to be up in just a minute. And so, late at night, I'm on my computer. I update the thing. I send it out. And I mean, literally within like 12 hours, we've gotten like $500 worth of donations. What really touched me, and I cried probably 4 or 5 times in about a 3-day period, just so incredibly moved by people wanting to help. But I think what touched me the most is the majority of the donations that we got were $10 donations. And so that meant that, 50 people in a 12-hour period had donated money. Now, luckily, and I think it was between the public outcry and pressure from the federal government, the WIC offices, they suddenly found money in North Carolina. And so they're reissuing the WIC vouchers. But in that few-day period, we were actually able to deliver formula, milk, baby food to a handful of families. And what we found was a lot of them had either fallen through the cracks, they were just applying when this happened, or one, it was a newborn baby. And so we found out it was a newborn baby, and we actually delivered. I guess I should have said that. We actually went around delivering to people's homes the formula. I didn't feel like they needed to have to drive somewhere and meet. And so
now your husband even went out. I know in one case he drove like an hour and a half one way.
He did. He drove an hour and a half almost to the Georgia border to deliver formula. And I'm talking to this young mother on the phone, and she's like, let me put my mom on the phone. She can, tell you better of where we live. And so I get the mom on the phone, and I said, I'm bringing her formula. But newborn, is there anything else you need? I mean, diapers, clothes, tell me what you need. We're here to help. And the mom, I guess the grandmother, was so sweet. And she said, actually, we've been planning for this throughout the whole pregnancy. We have a crib, we have diapers, they had everything they needed, including food and everything for the toddler. They just didn't have enough formula. The baby had come early, they were kind of counting on WIC, and now they weren't getting vouchers, and they were terrified because they didn't have the money. And for those of you listening that don't know, formula is actually quite expensive. A little bottle, or a little jar is like, I think it's $18 or $19, and it only lasts about a day and a half. I mean, it's really expensive. And they were terrified they weren't going to be able to feed the baby. And so we were actually able to provide formula, 1 month's supply. So she would have plenty of time to get to the WIC office and apply for her benefits. And but it was awesome. And we've now expanded the program. It's still Operation Formula, but now it's like / Feed the Children. Because we did learn during that week that there are so many families that are falling through the cracks that need help. There are lots of schools in this region that have food pantries for children. For those of you who don't know, about 47% of children in the Asheville city live below the breadline. Some of these kids, their last meal is Friday lunch at school, and they don't eat again until Monday morning. And that should never happen in this country. No child should ever go hungry. I mean, that's ridiculous. If we can spend, $1 billion a second in a war, we should be able to feed our children. I think that's absolutely horrid.
It sickens me. It sickens me to the core to think. And, I confirmed this because after you told me about the this, food program, I called the local administrators for Haywood County and found out that, yes, there are children who actually eat Friday at lunch at school, and their very next meal is Monday. I don't know how any American can hear that and not just hurt deep inside to know that there's children, little kids, who rely on parents and on adults to take care of them, and they're going without. And I know some people out there may say, oh my gosh, the parents are probably smoking crack, and the mom's probably popping out babies to get, welfare checks, and I don't know what we can't solve everybody's problem. But for some reason, George Bush convinced us that Jesus told him that we needed to go to war and there was weapons of mass destruction, and we're spending billions of dollars over there for over a decade now for fucking nothing except killing our youth. My daughter lost 2 friends there in a year. One she, went to boot camp with, and she lost her sergeant within 2 weeks of being there. And she watched him. She watched him get killed. And she's a female, so she's not an active, out in combat. She was on the base. And they lobbed a mortar in off the mountains in Pakistan.
There's no such thing as not being on the front lines when you're in that area now.
I just don't, I don't understand it, but I don't understand how we have children right here. And I want to feed everybody, even in Africa. And, I know for a fact about 20,000, and you can check these numbers through the World Health Organization, WHO. There's about 19 to 20,000 children die every day, irregardless of how many prayers go to heaven, every fucking day that die. And a lot of people may look at that and go, wow, yeah, those kids died. That's horrible. But I want you to wrap your head around something. You don't just die of starvation, like you skip 2 meals and you die. What happens is your body starts to shut down, and you writhe in pain as your liver quits, as your kidneys shut down. These things are horrid. They're beyond abuse. And we have kids that maybe aren't dying, but they're having to, they know that when they eat lunch Friday and they go into the cafeteria, and if somebody's got an extra roll, they're going to grab it and stick it in their pocket because they're not going to see another meal. And I don't give a fuck if the mom, is working the streets and the dad is in prison. I don't give a fuck what the circumstances are that led to that. We have a responsibility to take care of it.
We do. We absolutely, as human beings on this planet, we have a responsibility to other human beings. And no child should ever go hungry. And it breaks my heart that these kids are going hungry. And all I can think of was, well, what if it's a snow day on Monday? I mean, how many days do they go without eating? It's horrific. And so we've left the website up. We've left the PayPal donation up. People can go and donate money. We went, my husband and I went to Asheville Middle School yesterday and delivered 3 boxes of food. And we now have 2 more boxes of food sitting in my dining room. And we'll be taking donations at every brunch that WNC Humanists has. If you come to brunch, please bring, a jar of peanut butter or a can of SpaghettiOs, anything. Please, box of cereal, bring stuff. We're going to be taking donations every time we have brunch. And we have made it our mission to deliver food weekly to these different schools to make sure that kids in our area have something. And very fortunate, I've got to do a quick plug here. Dickey's Foods here on 74A in Fairview has actually given us a discount on some of the foods, and they set some foods aside for us, formula aside for us, and they're doing their best to help us. But it's fantastic. But we're still taking donations. We're still collecting. Monies are still coming in, and we now have not only this food that we're going to deliver to these middle schools, but we have an emergency fund. We have some formula set aside, some baby food, some other items. So if any family in our area has a tough day, has a tough week, has a tough month, doesn't have, all they have to do is pick up the phone and call. We're available 24/7, and we will deliver food to you.
You know, I'm completely blown away that, you know, someone as immoral as you and your family
I know, right?
would put together a program to fatten up babies so that you could eat them. And it just blows my damn mind. And the audacity of the I crack myself up sometimes. It just blows my mind that anybody could think, oh, he's an atheist, doesn't have any morals. And I'm sure we'll talk about that one day. But I am in awe of all you do. And I am proud. My life is better having known you and know you. And so I'm excited, you know, this being our first podcast, that I get to do it with you. And so I look forward to the upcoming episodes. I look forward to the growing crowds. And I know that you kind of went out and told a few people that we had a podcast starting, and you asked them for some questions. And I would love it. I would love to hear what they said.
Okay, well, Anthony from Asheville asks, is teaching creationism to children tantamount to child abuse? And what are the ramifications later on in life for the child and the effects on the country's future as a whole? That's a huge question. Short answer is that child abuse, yes, I think so, which I'm sure I'm going to get more hate mail tomorrow for that one. But it is. I mean, it's, when you're lying to your children, you're not teaching them the truth, you're scaring them into behaving a certain way, and you're not educating them in a way that they can better themselves and better our world and survive in the future. I think that's absolutely child abuse. And the ramifications, we could do 10 podcasts just on that, because that could be a child that's actually really great at science. Maybe they're the one that could, cure cancer. And you're teaching them not to be smart, not to be educated, not to learn that the world is only this old, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It infuriates me to no end.
I'm blown away that the question and this was from Anthony.
Anthony in Asheville, yes. Anthony. And great question from Anthony.
Yeah, this
is
a fantastic question, and I don't know if you gave him, the bonus question, because I see that he asked two, but I appreciate the question. Is teaching creationism to children tantamount to child abuse? I would say absolutely. One day I want to share my story with y'all, and I'll make it brief and try to make it as entertaining as possible. But I would say absolutely yes. I grew up a Mormon, and so I know the direct effects. Today I was reading an article where a Mormon adult, he and his wife, put up a 16-foot banner on public property in front of an LDS church in Canada, saying that the church was guilty of child abuse. And I read the article and was amazed, was so proud that he would do this. And if you happen to be a Mormon, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then I'll tell you later. But the bottom line is, religion in general harms. If it does anything at all, at the least thing, and it's still huge, is the fact that it teaches kids to be satisfied with not knowing. And science science doesn't have all the answers yet, but it teaches a child it basically gives them a Santa Claus replacement at the age of reason, and they get Jesus. Yeah. And now they have someone that says, hey, you're good, and you have your free will and everything, so you can believe in Jesus and live forever with your family, or I'm going to punish you forever in hell. You'll writhe in pain, gnashing of teeth. You all have heard it. And how is that a choice? That's like somebody holding a gun to my head and saying, listen, You either let me fuck your daughter or I'm going to blow your brains out. How's that a fucking choice? A choice would be,
It's not.
Here's the evidence, make a decision. Well, what I found at 38 years old, I'm embarrassed to say, is that it's a fraud. It's an abuse by those in power to influence and to discourage free thought and to take away rights, to create sin, okay? To basically say, God loves you so much. He created you sick, but he demands you well. And I steal that line from a famous atheist, and I've probably butchered it up. But the point is the same, is that when you tell a child that Jesus is watching them masturbate, or like the lady at the secular, the Carolina Secular Conference said that she realized she was an atheist, or the I guess the break or the break in the dam that led to her questioning more was she was sitting on a commode using the bathroom, and she remembered that Jesus sees everything, and it embarrassed her, and she got to thinking, that doesn't sound right. And so I know I kind of went off on a rant there, but I absolutely believe that it should be illegal. I believe that, Jen, you and I have talked about this before, but and I hope you'll give me a second to finish this thought. She, as a child, our government says, you know what? We're not going to allow you to abuse your children. You can reprimand them, and in some areas you can spank them. If you leave a mark, we're going to put you under the bus. If you do anything that is physically harmful to your child, like you tell them that they have to sleep outside because they didn't clean their room on a cold winter night, that is called abuse. And we create laws and rules to prevent that abuse. But in America still, we consider it okay to brainwash and manipulate a child's future based on some religious bullshit that was written thousands of years ago in the Bronze Age by a bunch of wandering desert nomads who were semi-literate sheep fuckers. Yeah. And yet that is abuse. That's worse abuse to me, or on parallel with the abuse of putting a child outside because he didn't finish his dinner. I don't get it.
I personally think that the mental, the emotional abuse that religion causes in children is way more harmful long-term than physical abuse ever is. But yes, in our country, you cannot physically abuse somebody, but you can totally mentally torture them. And it is. Quick story, one of my many that I'll tell over the years of my crazy childhood. Two sets of parents, my biological mother, who's Pentecostal. I lived with her for a period of time when I was younger. And I remember coming home from school. I was probably 9 or 10 years old. I came home and nobody was home. I thought the rapture had happened and I'd been left behind. I'm sitting on the front porch sobbing, trying to figure out what I had done so horribly wrong that God left me behind. Turns out they had just gotten held up at a store. And so they came home and I'm completely relieved, but still freaking out, hyperventilating. I'm sobbing. I thought I had been left behind. I thought I was all alone. And their response was, well, what did you do so wrong that you thought you were left behind? And I actually got punished because I must have done something wrong.
Oh my
the
gosh.
fact that a child of that age, myself, was sitting on the front porch sobbing because they thought they were all alone in the world because the rapture had happened and they had been left behind, that is absolutely child abuse. I would never, ever cause my children that kind of intentional fear to control them. I mean, that's just horrible. That's absolutely abuse.
You know what, Jen, my dad found out, we had a bunch of not migrant workers, they were all Mormons, but they were young Mormons who, they'd finished high school, but they weren't quite old enough because you had to be 19 to go on a mission. And my dad owned a big farm that we had to travel with. It was beekeeping. And he said, so sometimes we'd have 3 and 4, young men living in the home with us. And one of them apparently had a desire for pornography. And I was in the barn one time, and I had made these kick-ass slingshots out of sticks and rubber bands. And I wanted to hide them from my younger siblings. I was the oldest of 6. And so I climbed to the top of this barn, and I got into the rafters up there where they stacked the hay, and I found those magazines. And I was like, motherfucker.
Wow.
Okay. And I remember maybe being 9, 10, something like that. And my dad, I took them in the house and put them in my room, and my dad found them immediately because I was ignorant to this stuff. I was naive, and I didn't hide them well because I probably didn't realize, I don't know for sure, but I didn't realize the consequence. And so my dad came in the room, and he said, you know that's going to make you go blind. And I said, well, can I look until I need glasses? And he gave me this dumbfounded look, and I remember, and then he launched in, because that wasn't effective, he launched into this whole diatribe that I had invited Satan into our home, that by bringing those into the home, that I had left a door open for evil, satanic spirits that would haunt me. And it wasn't till I was 38 that I realized that there was no such thing as a fucking demon or a ghost or goblin. And I still, at 36, if you'd asked me, I invited new thoughts. I had an experience where I saw Satan, and it was right after. It was the winter after this summer where I found these magazines. And I remember being terrified and telling my dad I saw Satan, and him having to pray over my bedroom. And, the Mormons have special oil that they put around, and consecrated oil, whatever the fuck that means. All it is olive oil or something. And I remember being scared to sleep as a child. And I go...
And in the place that you should have felt the most safe, you were terrified.
Was in my fucking home. And my dad made me feel like I'd put everybody at risk. And he really believed it. It wasn't like it was some kind of fake threat, like Santa Claus is watching you. He's got elves watching you. You better be good in school or you won't get any presents in December. It wasn't that kind of deal. He literally made me feel like I had just opened the doors to hell and holy fuck. Well, I remember praying, and, I'd ask Dad, I don't feel like I'm getting my answers. And so Dad told me, you got to fast, and then you'll get your answers. And so in Mormonville, in Baptistville, you can fast, but you still get to drink liquids. Well, in Mormonville, you don't do nothing. You have no liquids or anything for 24 hours.
Yeah, Pentecostals.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Sorry, finish your story.
No,
I need to tell you about the fasting that I got to do as a child.
That was basically it. I mean, we grew up fasting. Every first Sunday of the month, the Mormons fast, and they call it fast and testimony meeting. And you're required to give the money that you would have spent on that day, the first Sunday of every month, from not eating, to the church. And that is above and beyond your 10% tithe.
And that's horrible, because taking away food from a child, not only is that horrific abuse, but your brain needs food to function. And as a child, you're learning. You need that nutrition so that you can be alert and awake and understand and learn. And, my biological mother used to, her and her husband used to use fasting also as a punishment. Not only did I have to do it when I did things that they felt like that whole bringing Satan into the house, and so I had to fast to get the demons away. But if I forgot to feed the dog, no food or water for 3 days. And, I'm in my mid-40s now, and to this day, I can go days without eating and not even realize that I have, because it was used so often in my childhood, like several times a month. They would take food and water away from me for 3 days. And I would go to school.
3 days?
And I remember my little friends being mortified. They couldn't believe this was happening to me. And they're like, just take a sip of water out of the fountain. And I said, no, well, God would see and they would tell them, and then I would get a beating and go even longer. Because if I got caught either eating or drinking anything, they would add more days on. But yeah, so in my mid-40s now, I can literally just go days without eating, and I don't even notice. Talk about screwing up your metabolism horribly. But yeah, that fasting. Oh,
I can't
religion
imagine
is abuse.
Religion. Yeah. And I hope that answers your question, Anthony. I know that we gave you the long answer, but I hope that answers your question. You asked also, what are the ramifications later in life for the child and effects on the country's future as a whole? I say that it breeds and it instills horrid ideologies in later adults, which we find in Michelle Bachmann's and Sarah Palin's and Rick Perry's of the world, who gain power and then use these religious fucktarded ideologies to base their decisions on. Decisions that affect the country. I don't know if you remember, Jen, that we had the what was it, the U.S. senator, or he was one of the House reps that said that rape was, the body had a way to turn it off if it wasn't a legitimate rape.
Yes.
And I don't want to beat a dead horse.
She couldn't get pregnant because if yeah.
Yeah. Which is, but see, that's a product of a child being abused. Okay. Yeah. And I do hold these adults accountable, because there is a point in their life where they have to have doubted, questioned something, and they chose not to follow that path because of the extended abuse as a child, that you're told, if you question it, that you're committing the ultimate sin, that you're questioning God. And I was told that, never question. If there isn't an answer.
Yeah, I got punished when I questioned.
Oh, absolutely. And I wasn't that inquisitive. There was just a few things I had questions about, like, how did God protect Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire? How did that work? Well, it's stuff that we won't understand.
Super suit, like as kids, I asked all kinds of questions. I asked, well, if Adam and Eve only had two sons, then, how did they marry? And kids are naturally inquisitive. They want to know.
Right.
And they don't do it to be disrespectful or doubting, or they literally just, they hear things and they're like, but wait, what about? That's a beautiful thing. You want your child to question things. That's how they learn. And so to shut those things off and be like, oh, well, if you're questioning it and you're doubting, you're bringing the devil into the house and you're a bad person, you're getting these people to stop questioning. And when you get children to stop questioning, then they stop questioning like other things, like, is this morally wrong? Would this be more helpful? And
right.
It goes back to science, the possibility of curing cancer or finding an alternative fuel source, or, it's the same thing. And then you add all of that into this religious ideal, because each one of them has some kind of an apocalyptic something. Then they're not taking care of their neighbors. They're not taking care of the earth. They're not taking care of, the financial stuff in our country. Social Security is shit now, and every day I worry that I'm not going to get a paycheck because, the government shutdown thing really kind of threw things. But yeah, you stop children from questioning when they're young. You stop them from questioning when they're older, and they're so much more likely to be abused, and a whole ton of other things, because they stop questioning authority.
Well, I agree. And, I had a teacher in high school. Her name was Miss Leibfried, and she was an amazing woman. She wasn't a teacher. She was a guidance counselor. And she said, she had a poster in her room that said, question authority. Well,
Good woman.
I remember that sticking out in my head. And I know for a fact, because I've talked to her as an adult, that she defriended me on Facebook at one point because she found that I was an atheist. And so she doesn't apply her same reason and logic to everything. Wow. So she's not liberal with her with her reason and logic. My dad is a marine biologist who believes in a 6,000-year-old Earth.
That sounds like a punchline for like SNL. That like doesn't make sense in my brain.
No, it can't. It can't, because my dad, actually, the Mormon Church has now endorsed or adopted the evolutionary theory. He still won't. He believes, no, that was social pressure. That cannot be from God. That's absolutely insane. He believes. He told me as a child. I asked him. I said, and because I was exposed to a little bit of evolution, I asked him one time. I said, well, then how did the dinosaurs get here? And how come DNA can prove that they're of that age? And he said, well, listen, son, if you were God and you needed to build a world and you knew that they needed fossil fuels, you could take animals from another planet and put them on that world. And he gave me an analogy. He's a king of analogies. And he said, you know what, if I was going to bake a cake and I bake the cake, but I use 1,400-year-old flour. And he goes, and they did the, whatever they do to check the age of the ingredients. He goes, they would come up with, it's a 1,400-year-old cake. And he goes, although I made it yesterday. And that made sense, and it satisfied me, and I was good to go. And so it wasn't till I was 38 and I actually read the fucking Bible that I realized this is horseshit. I mean, you can't make it out of Genesis if you're a reasonable person and believe any of it anymore, because Genesis contradicts itself. It's just amazing. Completely amazing.
It's so funny because I think that's what it eventually led me to realize I was an atheist. Because as a kid, that was, one of the few things we read was the Bible, and we read it a lot, and there were so many contradictions. And then I was sent to like private schools that were Christian, and then they're teaching stuff in Bible school that I'm like, wait, yesterday you said this, now it's saying that, and I'm like, I don't wait. And I hate it when they use that's Old Testament, this is New Testament, because that's crap too. I mean, within each Testament contradicts itself. The whole thing is so contradictory, and I don't see how anybody can read the Bible and be like, that makes sense. Like,
well, you can't get into the Gospels and actually believe. If you read the Gospels, you can no longer use it as an argument, at least an honest argument, that the Old Testament is the Old Testament and the New Testament is the New Testament, as I like to call it, the sequel. But the Old Testament actually, the New Testament in the Gospels actually states twice, Christ states that all the old laws are in effect and that he came to fulfill those. So that's horseshit. You cannot possibly think, because they asked him, are we supposed to abide by these laws? The 12 apostles, they asked. And he goes, absolutely. So, and I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it says in the Bible. And I've talked to preachers and they go, listen, you have to take a lot of that on faith. And that is the excuse of the masses. That is the cop out. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You're questioning my reason and logic. I gotta fucking go, basically. The faith get out of jail free card for a Christian.
I'm not scorning the three delightful children who are everything to me and who are my only chance of even a glimpse of a second life, let alone an immortal one. And I'll tell you something, if I was told to sacrifice them to prove my devotion to God, if I was told to do what all monotheists are told to do and admire the man who said, yes, I'll gut my kid to show my love of God, I'd say, no, fuck you.
Or any fucking religion. And, my dad uses it all the time, and he says, and I want to tell you something that my mom told me recently. But my dad, I was constantly, because I am so free now, and not free to sin, but I'm free. I feel like $1 million fucking dollars, and I feel like a dumbass for not figuring this out sooner. Because I'm probably well beyond halfway through my life, because I enjoy the cigarette or two every 10 minutes. And so I am, I asked my dad this faith thing, and I said, 2 billion fucking Muslims have faith. The same fucking faith you have. How is that any different? Are they so deluded? Is God just doesn't give a goddamn fuck about them that he wouldn't say, hey, I love the faith, but but you're wrong. No, he didn't do that. No, instead he tells them, fly into buildings, kill the occasional female because she showed her face or showed the bottom of her feet or she didn't get her vagina circumcised. It's mind blowing, and it's the excuse of faith. But my mom said, this was just 2 weeks ago. My mom said, Cash, you got to quit talking to your dad about religion. And I said, why? Is it working? And she goes, no. He's not going to talk to you anymore, like ever. And I said, are you fucking kidding me, Mom? You mean like he's never going to talk to me? He doesn't care with grandkids, fuck it all. And she goes, yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you ever want to talk to him, he will disown you, and you are backing him into a corner. And I said, well, why didn't he just use faith? Why didn't he use faith? But I was floored, though. You know, I couldn't really retaliate with my keen sarcasm, but I was hurt. I was hurt in my heart because I was going, okay, my dad really, really would disown? I mean, they already don't invite us. You know, they had a family reunion recently, and the only way I knew about it, the only way I found out about it was because one of my children saw it, my adult children saw it on Facebook, how some of the pictures. We weren't invited. Wow. We weren't invited. I'm the eldest of 6 kids and the only one that fucking didn't go. Me and my 9 kids and grandkids didn't go. You know, I wish we wouldn't have given you such a short answer, Anthony, but I think if you have time one day, we'll spend 7 or 8 hours and tell you about the harms of religion.
Anthony's going to listen to this and he's going to be like, wow.
Yeah, he's probably going to go, fuck them. I'm not going to ask them any more goddamn questions. You know, a yes would have done fine.
That or he's going to come up with some, insane question just to see if he can stump us.
Oh, yeah. Well, it wouldn't take much for me, so I'm easily stumped. But I do have a Google and a Bing, and I'll look up shit.
Yes.
Tell us this other question. I'd love to hear what this other question that we got asked.
Okay, so the other question comes from Kathleen in Candler, and she asks, where do you hope to take the local groups, or what do you hope to see Atheists in America accomplish in the next 3 to 5 years? I'm like, would you like my short answer? Because it's dominate. I would like to see our local groups expand and actually do more charity work. There's a group actually in the Spartanburg, South Carolina area called Upstate Atheists. And I'm totally going to script their motto, and I apologize to them, but it's basically a charity group. I mean, they formed this atheist group strictly to do charity work, and that's all they do. And they do fantastic things. I was blessed enough to get to, look, I said blessed. Somebody's going to send me hate mail and say that's a religious word.
It's that childhood indoctrination.
I was fortunate enough to go down to Spartanburg. They had set up a booth at the Piedmont Fair last week, and so I got to go down one night. My husband and I did and worked the booth with them, and it was interesting because I always think of like the Greenville-Spartanburg area, although it's South Carolina, it seems like such a much bigger area, and I guess I expected a few more liberals than what I saw. We got a lot of wagging fingers and ugly words said, and it was entertaining. I actually like it. I love when people get pissed off when I'm there. But yeah, so I got to go and sit down, and she had these wonderful pictures sitting on her table of them doing all these great things in the community. They put together these care packages for homeless people. They've worked with Habitat for Humanity. They have an Adopt a Street program, but they do all these great things. And I just thought that was so fantastic. And so I would love to see every group, not just locally, but every group in the country do more in their community. I think it makes a big difference. I think it's important for people to see who we really are, what we truly care about. And so I think that would be great.
You know
and
what?
I think you
could get that, though. You could get that with Amanda Neef, or Knief, as she likes to say. I'm going to get her to change that eventually. And I may have to sleep with her.
She's going to be at some conference in the future going, Well, let me tell you, folks, I'm going to have to say now that I'm changing the pronunciation of my name, because there's this guy in North Carolina that insists that I pronounce my name differently.
Well,
But anyways, go ahead.
otherwise, just leave off the goddamn K, and I'll be tickle pink, and then I'll be fine with Neef. But but I want to say that her book that we already talked about, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, and we're not in any way.
No, but I'm not sure you said what her book was called, and it's The Citizen Lobbyist. And if you folks out there listening do not have a copy, go get yourself a copy. Fantastic book.
Fuck yeah.
It's a nice little pamphlet.
I'm reading it right now, and I'm going to give a synopsis on it. I'm probably 2/3 of the way through. It's a little book, so you should be able to read it rather quickly. It is fantastic. If you can't afford the book and want to help the movement, and you want to do it quietly from your own living room, or anything you want to do, you want to learn how to approach the school board and what things you can change. She outlines this so well in this book. It's written so that anyone can understand it and be involved and know that they're helping. They actually know they're helping, and that was the big key to me. So if you can't afford the book, if you will contact us, we'll get you a copy. Okay?
Absolutely.
We'll get you a copy.
We will find a copy. We will mail it to you. You'll be able to read it. But yes, so it's Amanda Knief's book, The Citizen Lobbyist, and it's a how-to for getting a voice in government. And for those of you who may not know who she is, she's also the managing director and in-house counsel for American Atheists.
Yeah, and when you say counsel,
a constitutional law and public policy expert who has worked as legal counsel for the Iowa legislature and as a lobbyist for the Secular Coalition for America.
And you know what? When you meet her, you'd never know she was an attorney. She carries around her dog, and she's sweet as pie. She's younger than us, and she's brilliant. Okay, brilliant. She's one of those that I want to sleep with because she's fucking sexy. Her intelligence is just sexy, and I love her, and she doesn't feel the same yet. And so I've been stalking her a little bit, and so hopefully. And don't expect her number in the book. She's not going to put her phone number in there, because I can tell you from experience. And but I hope you get it. And if you can't get it, we'll get it for you. And I know I may be speaking out of turn, Jim, but I think it's important that for people to get involved, that they get this book.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. It's an awesome how-to guide. And I absolutely agree with you. If somebody can't go out and get the book, yeah, give us a holler. We'll get you a copy.
We'll get you a copy.
If you're really nice, I'll get you a signed copy.
Oh, fuck. But don't expect the number. She ain't going to give you her number. So that's what I would say to our questioner from Candler, Kathleen, is that absolutely that is what I want to see is more people. I think that it's going to happen. It's already happening. We already see about 20%, according to Pew Research, of America considers themselves nuns. Some of those may be universalists. Some of those may be spiritual or whatever they're clinging to. But the bottom line is there's many of the 20% that probably feel alone. That is there other atheist, or are there other atheists? My fifth grade, I guess, grammar teacher would slap me for saying, is there other atheists?
It's okay, because my grammar is terrible. I get in trouble all the time for my grammar.
We can excuse it here, but if somebody's listening, in one of these hoity-toity states, where they get good educations, in North Carolina, we've signed up for that because of our brilliant legislature. They created some new laws, and they opened up the voucher program, which is a fantastic program for you to be able to use your tax dollars that you have no control over how they're spent to go to private Christian schools so that they can teach kids that the earth is 6,000 years old and that Jesus is coming in their lifetime. And that is what we're getting. In fact, and I know I'm jumping a little bit, but in recent news, there is gays, lesbians, homosexuals being kicked out, legally kicked out. There's no recourse available. Kicked out of private Christian schools who actually get funded by your tax dollars because they're gay or lesbian or transgender. They're being kicked out. You can look it up, Google it, whatever you want to do. If you were in front of me, I'd hand you the link. But the bottom line is Christian schools are kicking out people because of their sexual preference. And I say fuck you with a capital F and a capital U, because I spell fuck you different than everybody else. And
you know what? That shit just boggles my mind. The fact that they can kick a child out of school. Although, you know what? Maybe it's better for the kid if they're not in that stupid fucking religious school, because that's just terrible. But they're making children feel unwanted, unloved, making them feel abnormal. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the fact, yes, that our tax dollars pay for this shit. Yes, bigotry is alive and well in America, and your tax dollars are paying for it. Go America.
It's mind-blowing that it can even happen. I'm surprised that our government passed this school voucher program and let states adopt it however they saw fit. And we live in a state that adopted it. And so this year alone, and you may have to check my numbers, it may be 23 billion or it may be 32 billion, or I may have my decimal off by 2, but the bottom line is North Carolina schools are suffering right now today. They can't afford some of the programs they had 2 years ago because the powers that be, the religious fucktards that are in our state capital, have deemed it appropriate to spend your tax dollars to move money that was going to already strapped for cash schools over to a Muslim school. That'll piss off some Christians. A Christian school, a Catholic school, a Jewish school. Anybody, if you want to send your kid there, they're going to give you your goddamn tax dollars to support them. And that's a fucking violation of church and state if I've ever seen one. I hope and pray to the flying spaghetti monster that shit gets changed. I don't know how that got passed.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. I cannot believe that we allow this, because I guess to me one of the worst things is what these schools are allowed to teach. And again, they're cutting out actual science. They're, changing history. Not that's not even happening in public schools these days. Don't even get me started on the fucking Texas school board. But yeah, so they're allowing these kids to just be taught whatever. And again, what if one of those kids that's sitting in that classroom learning that the earth is only 6,000 years old or flat or whatever the fuck they're being taught, what if they're a friggin' science genius or math genius? Maybe they could change technology for the better, that they could have been coming up with alternative fuel sources or a cure for cancer, and I know I keep going back to those, but seriously,
Yeah, but what you're doing is forcing them, because their adherence to a doctrine that demands the lack of reason, logic, and skepticism, demands that they follow by faith. Blind sheep comes to mind. And that's what you get. You get new leaders, Kathleen from Candler. You get new leaders 10 years from now who are running for government, who are the Michelle Bachmans, who are Sarah Palins, who are the Rick Perrys, who are the, I can't even, who is it? Who's the fucker from Kentucky? Dumb as fuck, motherfucker. I can't think of his name. Rand Paul. You get that. You get that kind of bullshit, and you get that kind of religious nuttery. And I can't wait till in North Carolina a Muslim school opens up, and the Christians find out their tax dollars are supporting it, because I think
they're gonna flip shit.
I think that's what will happen. Jen. I do.
And suddenly think it's so crazy, because I bring that up all the time, like with prayer in schools, or, scriptures on banners or whatever. In fact, I was on Facebook and really saddened to hear that there's a little town somewhere outside of Greenville, Spartanburg area in South Carolina that they're doing what is it called? Pastries for pastors or something. And it's just before school or something, but they're allowing these pastors to come in and talk to kids. And it's a public school, but they're allowing them to come in and do these things. It's the same shit that my kids faced when they had prayer before and after practices and games. And every time I say, well, what if it was a Muslim? How would you feel?
Yeah.
And the response I always get is, well, this is a Christian nation.
Yeah.
And when I push the subject even harder about that, I get well, that's how we voted. And I'm like, just wait. Go ahead. Keep saying that. Because eventually, according to statistics, that the Muslim religion is actually growing faster than Christianity. So pretty soon, we might all be praying to Allah.
They'll have a bigger voice, right? And so this is why our founding fathers created the separation of church and state. And a lot of people will argue that, but a lot of people are unaware. My mom one time said to me, she goes, you know what? If we weren't a Christian nation, we wouldn't have "In God You Trust" on our money. We wouldn't have it in the pledge. It wouldn't be our national motto. And I said, do you realize that this happened in the 1950s during the McCarthy era, during the Red Scare, during there's a communist under every bed in America? That's when that came about. 200 fucking years after the country was formed. And what's amazing is because of our education system, they'll never know that, in Texas, they won't know.
Oh, exactly. When we did that billboard campaign, I got that a lot. People were saying that to me. And so I had to go back and, when I actually answered every email that was sent to me. That was an insane period of my life, but I was determined to answer every email that people took the time to write me. And trying to explain history to people was so difficult because they just didn't get it. They thought I was making shit up. When I was interviewed on the Diane Sawyer show, they actually, the opening talked about history and when that was changed. And there were still people that just thought I was full of shit. They thought I was making stuff up. And wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing because they'll quote George Washington a couple times, who is probably out of all the founding fathers the closest you could count as a religious nutter, but the rest of them pretty secular. I mean, you've got Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, and you can read into what you want, but if you read our first treaty that we made, it was the Treaty of Tripoli. We stayed in that, and it was signed by John Adams. We state in that treaty, in no way is America a Christian nation or founded on the Christian beliefs. Our first goddamn treaty by the founding fathers, penned by the founding fathers.
And I've said it so many times, and I'll say it again. Many of our forefathers may have feared, God, whatever their version was, because quite a few of them were deists, not Christian, but they may have feared God, but they feared religion more. They didn't want to answer to a governmental church. I mean, that's kind of how we became who we are. And so they feared religion and what it could do to this country if any one religion was allowed to take over. And I'm pretty sure if they could, they'd be rolling over in their fucking graves if they saw some of what was going on in our country today. And what kills me is these crazy religious right, I think they're actually a much smaller group than what it seems. I just think they're the loudest. Which kind of goes back to Kathleen's thing that as atheists, as nons in general, we need to be vocal. We need to get out and vote. We need to stand out. We need to open our mouths. We need to say, hey, we're here. We don't agree.
We need to read Citizen Lobbyist.
Exactly. Because as long as they're the loudest one speaking, that's who people are going to be listening to. And we need to stand up and say, hey, no.
I wanted to tell you I'm drinking Woodford Reserve tonight, and this isn't a plug. I went to the liquor store and I said, you know what? This is our first show, and it's worthy of a good bourbon. And so I bought
good for you.
I bought a good bourbon, and I'm sitting here. I'm about 2/3 through it, and so hence the potty break a minute ago. And I'm having a blast. I got a call from a fellow atheist humanist who has children over in, I think it's Haywood, Haywood County, and their child was in class, a sixth grader, I believe. It's middle school either way. Was in class, and the teacher heard somebody say, "Oh my God," and made this child go out and run laps for using the Lord's name in vain. I found out today that in Haywood County, the ROTC was to hold a presentation, a 3-hour presentation with all the 150 ROTC members, and that the Freedom from Religion Foundation in Wisconsin got word that this this school was holding this function, and that one of the functions was a prayer, or a part of the function was a prayer. And they were told, the ROTC members were told, that if they did not participate in the prayer in front of the school, that they would lose a letter grade, because this isn't an extracurricular activity. That's the bourbon kicking in. And that they would lose a letter grade. And apparently a student or parent complained. And today they complained. They complained within 24 hours of this event, and they called me and said, guess what? They didn't do the fucking prayer. They lined them up.
Yay!
They lined them up to do the prayer today. And then this guy called I think he's the sergeant, who is just basically a fucking teacher for the ROTC. And I love the ROTC program. But he came out and he said, hey guys, we're skipping the prayer. We are not allowed to do it. And I went, hallelujah. So kudos to whatever fucking parent is in Haywood County that reported this shit, so that other students, maybe a Jew, maybe a Muslim, maybe a Pastafarian, maybe a Mormon, maybe a Jehovah's Witness, who doesn't agree, whose religion doesn't allow them to participate in your religious bullshit, I applaud you. I applaud you, because this is what separates people. You go, well, I'm in the right religion. You know, I'm a Baptist, or I'm a Methodist, or whatever the fuck you are, okay? And you ostracize kids, fucking little kids who go to school and whose teacher has a fucking poster on the wall that says, through all things in Christ Jesus we can accomplish, or whatever the fuck it is. And I go, what the fuck? This is in a school? This is another recent one I heard about 3 weeks ago, Jen, that a poster on the wall it depicts a picture of the recent, I think a year ago, wrestling coach and students, or I guess the players, the whatever they call them, the fucking wrestlers, and on that poster it says, "Through all things are possible through Christ Jesus," or something to that effect. And I go, in a school? How do you fucking get away with that? You fuck. God damn. It pisses me the fuck off. It just completely pisses me the fuck off. And kudos to the FFRF. You put up with shit. I get their little newsletter, and I read the hate mail that they get. People wanting to kill them. People wanting to fuck them in the ass. People wanting to do all kinds of shit to them. And I go, you know what? Thank you for standing up for everybody, because you're not only standing up for atheists, which is my priority and my bias, but you're standing up for any other religion who doesn't believe the same way as the moronic teachers who put this stuff out there. So from me and Jen, we love you, FFRF, and to you fucking Christian fucktards who try to push this on every student in school, fuck you, with a capital F and a U.
Absolutely.
So, David Smalley would be impressed, because we really have, kept this, mild and contemplative, and I may send him a copy.
Understanding and
I may send him a copy. I think if a Christian, and you brought this up earlier, if a Christian found out that at their public school the Muslims were giving out copies of the Quran and the Hadith, the Hadith is the book of laws for the Muslims, and if they were giving those out to students, not forcing them to take it, but just tabling it, had a table set up and handing them out when kids come to school, I think the Christians would go fucking nuts, like you said. They'd flip. What did you call it?
They would start having heart attacks, like right there on the spot. I mean, it would be, it would be World War III. I mean, I truly believe it would be World War III.
So what does that tell you? That tells you that our founding fathers were a tad smarter than you fucktards, and that Christian isn't like the exclusivity. The point of separation of church and state was to separate church and state so that all people, it's a sacred right, even though I don't agree with it, but it's still a sacred right of a parent to bring their child up in whatever fucking religion and whatever imaginary friend they want them to believe in. And that is their right. It is not the right of our government, our schools, or anything to tell those children, listen, your parents are dumb fucks. And essentially that's what they're doing. They're saying, look, 2 times 2 is 4 every day of the week. And by the way, Jesus is Lord.
I have Christian friends that absolutely stand for the separation of church and state. The thought of somebody else teaching religion in a school to their child, a public school, infuriates them. Because, I mean, look at Christianity. There's how many different sects? Like 4 billion different sects of Christianity.
Yeah.
Because there are some that believe that the earth is 6,000 years old. There's some that believe in evolution. There's all kinds of, different beliefs just within Christianity. They can't even agree themselves about what they're going to believe. I mean, there are
40,000. Jen, I looked it up. I looked this up. 40,000 different sects of Christians.
Isn't that insane? And it's so hard when you're talking to one because you bring up stuff and they'll laugh at you and be like, oh, well, I don't believe that. That's just ridiculous. But, of course, they still have some other ridiculous thing that they do believe. But there is, Christians can't even agree amongst themselves about their religion. And so I don't see how any one of them thinks that they have any right to be teaching their craziness to anybody else's kids. But I do. I have Christian friends that think that the separation of church and state is paramount to the future of our country. And so I salute those people who stand up and say, yes, I'm a Christian, and
I'm with you.
I have a magical sky fairy friend, but I believe in the separation of church and state.
I'm 100% with you. And there was 1,000 years that the church reigned, and those are referred to as the Dark Ages. And
yes,
and those
very dark ages.
Those were 1,000 years that nothing new came about. When the Catholic Church ruled the earth, when Christianity ruled the world, and
they slaughtered anybody else who didn't agree with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and not a few.
They went around and they killed everybody else that didn't think the way they did. Yeah, terrorists.
And I think people don't relate to that, Jen. You're absolutely right. They don't relate to it. They hear, you and I, and I'm sure you're the same as me on this, but you and I hear of an atrocity from 350 years ago, and it breaks our heart. Because there was people that loved those people. There was people that said, my wife can't be a witch. Why are you Christians killing my fucking wife? You fuck you. You dumb fucks. There's no such thing as a witch. And now Christians will laugh at that and go, yeah, that was crazy shit. Those people were stupid. Well, no, they weren't stupid. What happened is the morals of society succeeded and superseded your batshit crazy fucking laws in the Bible. Because if you are a true Christian, if you're a goddamn true Christian and you believe in the Bible and you can say, well, the Old Testament's the old law, well, fuck you then. Get your goddamn 10 Commandments off my walls. Okay? Because that's in the fucking Old Testament.
And stop condemning gays.
Well, exactly. But
go ahead and eat your shrimp.
Exactly my point. 10 fucking commandments. None of them mention rape or child abuse, by the way. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Okay? Why didn't God go, you know what, number one about I am God and you only worship me, there shall be no other gods before me. Let's take that one out and put in rape. Thou shalt not rape would be a good one. Well, no. Fuck no.
Or hell, let's just have respect for women in general, because I've yet to see a religion that really does. Well, I can't. I take that back, because I'll get some ugly mail from my friends who are pagan, because they do. But the majority, the Abrahamic
faith
religions don't respect women.
You're absolutely right. Women were counted even in the New Testament among the sheep. They were property. They were shit. And people go, well, Jesus says that you should treat your wife like the church. And I go, are you fucking kidding me? You cherry picking motherfucker. I want you to go back and read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I want you to do something. And I learned this from a great, great man who teaches at the, it's here in North Carolina, Bart Ehrman. And he teaches religion. And what is amazing is he says, if most people read Matthew, then they read Mark, then they read Luke, and then they read John, and they move on. If you read it laterally, though, which means you go to Matthew and you read a story, and then you go to Mark, Luke, and John and read that same story, if you can find it, you'll find that they're different. Well, why the fuck are they different? Why are they completely fucking different? Why did Jesus say something different on the cross in all 4 books?
It's funny how Christians never really point that out or talk about that.
Well, they don't want to, and it wasn't until I think the best thing to encourage atheism is to read your Bible. So Christians, if you're listening, read your goddamn Bible. Start in Genesis, and if you make it through Genesis and you're not convinced yet, call me, because I would love to talk to you, because you missed something in Genesis. Genesis is an atrocious book. Leviticus is horrid. I would love for you to call me. Okay. So, and Jen brought up a great point a little bit ago. She brought up the shrimp. You know, in the same book, in the same goddamn chapter that it tells you to hate fucking homosexuals and it's an abomination, it's also an abomination to plant crops side by side of different type. It's also an abomination to fucking wear 2 different fabrics at the same time on your body. It's also an abomination to eat fucking shrimp. So the Lord says that abominations shall be dealt with by death. Picking up sticks on a Sunday, for instance. That story is actually in the Bible. So I expect you Christian nutbags to go on to fucking Red Lobster on Sunday and condemn those motherfuckers. If you're a true Christian, then go condemn. You dumb fuck. You don't fucking, you know why there's no Christians at Red Lobster killing people on Sunday? Because they don't believe that horse shit. Way down deep, they don't believe that horse shit. And their personal morals supersede that of their gods. Because their God says to kill somebody who eats shrimp. Shrimp.
Yep.
I'm surprised.
Like, what the hell did the shrimp do?
I'm surprised Red Lobster's even made it in America. Fucking Long John Silver's. I'm surprised there's not mass murders there every Sunday. Two fucking sins that are worthy of death, according to the Leviticus, is working on the Sabbath, one of the 10 commandments, because that's fucking, crazy to work on the Sabbath. That's the Lord's day. You goddamn motherfuckers, what are you doing at Red Lobster? And then second, you're eating shrimp? Fuck. That's worthy of torture at least, and a little, maybe torture, rape, and then maybe fucking shoot you in the head. That's just fucking batshit crazy. But
it was funny, because one of the things that really got me as a kid was that whole part of the Bible about the ark and the actual measurements. And yes, I've read that probably 5 or 6 times in my childhood. I've actually read the Bible cover to cover 5 or 6 times throughout my childhood. And I scrub verses now because it's been 20 years since I've, read it. But there's a whole section They actually, like, the measurements of the ark. If you do those measurements, our couple of families and our animals, well, shit, your family would barely fit on there with all the kids you got. But, I mean, seriously, we would barely all fit on this ark, let alone two of every animal in the entire world.
You know
and it's
what?
not like they had planes back then to fly the animals in. So how the fuck they all got there, I'll never know. But, yeah, seriously, as a Christian, all you have to do is read the Bible and be like,
Yeah, how did they get to Australia and get the fucking kangaroos over? Well, my dad will tell you that the Lord just made it happen. Well, here's something cool then. Why did they give the goddamn measurements? Because they had this huge boat and they had one fucking window, one opening. And that's where they were to send out the doves at the end. But if you ask a Christian, no shit, you ask a Christian, how long were they in the ark? I swear to you, I swear to God that most Christians will tell you 40 days and 40 nights. No motherfucker read your Bible. They were in there a year. A year. Now, I want you to just factor up how much fucking hay you'd have to have for 2 fucking elephants for a year.
Entire year. Oh, and the feces, the amount of feces.
But you only have 8 people.
That's the part that always got me, was just between the people and the animals, the amount of feces that would come out.
Oh,
and need to go somewhere.
My dad said, the penguins were fine. They didn't even get on the ark because they just stayed in the water. And I said, so all that rain, God somehow managed to keep some parts of the water, being as everything was covered in water, some parts of it colder than others, because a penguin can't survive in warm,
like tropical weather. Yeah.
Warm water. So now tell me this, it rained and rained and rained 40 days and 40 nights and it flooded the earth. Now there's 2 things here that got me when I read this as an adult. Is one, the water level had to cover the highest mountain. Now, I don't know if you have Google handy. Let's see the tallest mountain, and just humor me for a second. Tallest mountain in the world is...
Oh, the amount of rain that had to have, yeah.
Okay, but this isn't even it, though. It's 13,802 feet above sea level. Okay? That means you need a fucking oxygen mask. Do you realize that being that high up...
Oh, didn't even think of that part. So where did they get the oxygen mask?
Yeah, so you are in an area that private pilots, which I happen to be one, we are not allowed to fly at that height without oxygen. You know why? Because there ain't no goddamn oxygen up that high. Well, Jesus probably made extra oxygen for him. Okay, so he made extra oxygen. Let's say I give you that. Well, how much rain? Now, is this salty rain or regular rain? Well, it's regular rain. Okay, so now you've turned the salt water into brine water, which means that all the species would have died. The freshwater fish would have fucking died because it ain't fresh anymore, and the saltwater fish would have died because it ain't salty anymore. It's called brackish. So, are you telling me that he had aquariums on the ark? Well, it doesn't say he gathered the fishes of the seas. So, it's a batshit crazy. So, anybody with any common sense, I mean, even the minutest amount of common sense has to recognize that you can't have that fucking story at all. It doesn't exist. The story fucking can't be true, period. So then you start questioning the other stories, like walking on water, which I've seen David Copperfield do, so it's not that fucking amazing. I saw David Blaine do it too.
It always blew my mind that they did the whole ark story to children. Like, it was this great story. Look, and Jesus or God saved these people and the animals. But they kind of forget to mention to the children that, God drowned everybody else. All the innocent children. So you're going to tell me every baby in the world evil? At that point in time was so evil that they deserve to be drowned?
Well, I had a preacher at Belshare. I asked him that exact question, and he said, well, they got to go to heaven. No. Motherfucker.
Great.
No,
so I'm gonna choke to death on water, a horrific death, and then I get to go to heaven.
Yeah, don't
I don't know what you were taught as a child, but I was taught heaven meant you went to some place where you got to worship God for the rest of your life.
Well, I asked him.
That just sounds like tons of fun.
I asked him two questions. I said, either you're creating an excuse for God, because that doesn't say that. It says that all were evil except for Noah and his family. That was 8 people. So you're saying all was evil. So basically you're saying that the Bible's incorrect, and you've created a new solution to overcome the moral dilemma that God killed babies, invalids, retarded kids, handicapped kids. You're telling me that the baby that was in womb was evil? And he said, well, we're going to understand that at some point. You know, God's going to explain that. And I said, well, why wouldn't he have done it there? I mean, he had the opportunity. It's not like they were short on pages. I mean, they, in Numbers, they listed everybody beget, 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 beget. That could have done away with, and we could have filled it with the reasons why God killed everybody. And if you're telling me that it's heaven is the answer. You know, God felt that some people, I'm sure there was some people. This is this preacher at Belshire. This is no shit. He told me, he goes, Cash, he goes, there's not all of them were evil. Okay. But they got to go to heaven immediately. They didn't have to suffer the sin of the earth. And I went, is the earth still sinful? He goes, oh Lord, yes, it's way worse than it was then. And I said, and he talks real slow, so I'm trying to imitate it as close as I can. And he said, and I said, do you have kids? And he goes, yeah. I said, why don't you kill them fuckers then? I said, because
send them to heaven.
Send them to heaven. If the earth is more evil then and God did it, why wouldn't you do it? Well, God says not to kill. So if I come in and rape your child in the middle of the night, or your wife, you're not going to kill me? Well, yeah, I'm going to kill you. Then isn't that a contradiction? Well, God says don't kill, but it's not in every situation. And I said, yeah, but Jesus says to turn the other cheek. I mean, if you go by the Bible, in Matthew, Christ says to turn the other cheek. That means you should probably, if I come in and beat the fuck out of your daughter, you should give me your wife. That's turning the other cheek. And he goes,
I bet he loved that one.
That's not what the Lord meant. That's not what he meant. And I said, well, how do you know? And why can't any of you motherfuckers agree on anything? None of y'all can explain that. Y'all, you can say, well, we'll understand one day. Well, you know what? I've been where you are. I've been where you are. And I told him this. I said, listen, I'm not trying to bash you, and I know I use profanity and I piss you off. I said, but I'm not trying to bash you. I love you because you're human. And right now, if somebody tried to hurt you, I'd jump their ass. I said, but the bottom line is you're fucking wrong. And if you will escape this for just a second and think about it, you'll figure out that your morals, your moral code is better than that of God. Can I get an amen?
And that alone should make them stop and think.
I hope it does.
I do too. And speaking of crazy religions, let's talk a little bit about the Church of Scientology. There was a conviction recently held up in France calling them a fraud. I find the Church of Scientology incredibly fascinating. And every time there's an article, I have to read all about it. And then I'm on Google and I'm like reading more articles. That religion, if you can call it that, well, I guess all religions are crazy. So yeah, I guess we'll call it a religion. I just find incredibly fascinating that so many people in Hollywood follow it, knowing that it's insane, that apparently it's aliens and we're trapped in some body and you know, you have to cleanse yourself of your personality basically and be some robot. But so France is now calling it a fraud. That's awesome. So now all we need is all the other countries to call it a fraud, and then start calling all other religions a fraud, and then it'll be a much better world that we live in. But yeah, your thoughts. What do you think about Scientology?
Oh my gosh. L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction writer. Mm-hmm. And he was very smart. He's up there with Stephen King. He created some crazy concepts in his writings, but he did say when he was working on a farm, okay, that the best way to become wealthy would be to start a religion.
Absolutely.
And he did. He started a fucking religion. And believe it or not, there's people like Tom Cruise who have spent, it costs somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 to get to the highest pinnacle that you can become and get rid of the evil spirits that dwell within you. And they have this little scientific test when computer probes and shit they put on you, and they can see if you have any of these things in you. It's the craziest shit I've ever heard, and I wish I could remember all the information on it, but I have a book called World Religions that is amazing, and it gives you the facts, and then it gives you a great reference in the back where you can look up these facts so that you can verify it. You can see if, this holds water, and it's amazing to me that people follow it. I mean, people like Tom Cruise, you go, okay, you got plenty of fucking money. What made you say, you know what? That right there is some crazy shit. I'm in. Sign me up. And I'm blown away. If you Google Scientology, though, you'll see the people that it's hurt, the horrors that they have committed. They were fined. They did lose in a court case. They were convicted in France of fraud. They appealed it, and the other day that appeal was lost. They got to reiterate their case of batshit craziness, and they still lost. And I think they had to pay, it was close to $1 million in fines, but they say that they defrauded people of millions. And I go, okay, so religion doesn't do any harm? Yeah, it's mostly for the good, because it gives people something to look into, look forward to. And can you imagine people'd be raping and, drinking, drugging, and sexing? And my dad told me, he said, you're dragging your kids to hell, son. You're dragging them to hell. And I said, what the fuck? How do you say this, number one? And he goes, well, I heard your son talk about that homosexuals was okay. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, it ain't. It says right in the Bible. And I said, yeah, I'm familiar. And I went through the whole shrimp and shit, and it doesn't affect him. It doesn't faze him. And I said, so you think it's a choice? Well, absolutely. And I said, have you ever considered it? And he goes, well, absolutely not. I ain't a faggot. And I said, okay, Dad, let me ask you this then. When did you decide to be heterosexual?
Exactly.
And he looked at me like a deer in the headlights, oh shit, like a squirrel crossing the road as you're coming down the road. Oh, fuck, which way do I go? Which way do I go? And he walked out my door and he slammed my screen door, and I didn't hear from him for about 3 months. He wouldn't take my calls. And this was several years ago now. But it amazed me. I've stumped many of people when I asked them, when did you decide to become heterosexual? Because most of them go, well, I tried. I didn't decide. Well, motherfucker, you're trick questioning me. And I just think it's just stupid. If you think about things, and this is why logic and reason is so important to teach kids, and it's why it should be child abuse if a parent discourages it. It should be.
Oh, I agree, because think about how many years ago that people looked at black people and thought, oh well, they're stupid. They can't possibly be educated or talented, or to me it's the same thing. It's the same thing that gays have faced in our country. It's the same thing that atheists have faced in our country. It's this ignorance that people have, and that's why education is so important. But I want to talk a little bit more about Scientology, because I do, like I said, I find it incredibly fascinating, because what it seems to me is if you're rich and in Hollywood, you benefit from being a Scientologist. There's like a little handful of them. They make their little movies, but if you're an average Joe, you're screwed. You give up all your money, you give up all your rights, you give up your identity, and you become basically a slave to this crazy cult. But Leah Remini, and I'm probably butchering her name, and I apologize, but she's an actress, and she actually walked away from the church, and she went to the police and said, hey, I haven't seen this leader's wife or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names. And but yeah, so she had gone to the police, and so now there's all these other actors in Hollywood that are like standing up and saying they've been betrayed by her, and they're kind of trying to push her out of being an actress. It seems like she's not getting the roles, which I could be reading things into it, but I'm just reading these stories, and all these Kirstie Alley and Tom Cruise, and these people are standing up and saying that she's this big liar and this betrayer, and I guess it's funny to me because I'm on the outside looking in, but it just blows my mind how far this religion has come. Although I do think that they fudge their numbers. I don't think they're nearly as big as they pretend that they are, but they seem to target, wealthy for their money, and they seem to target the famous so they can get in the press. But I was really proud of this actress for standing up and saying, okay, I've decided this is crap. And she's gotten so much shit, in the public and been attacked and quite viciously by these other Scientologists.
Well,
and
you know
I
what?
guess I could relate to her because I feel as atheists, we kind of face the same thing.
Without the religion, would they have attacked her, though? There's an awesome man. His name is Steven Weinberg, and he was born in 1933. And in I think it was 99, he gave a speech in Washington, D.C., and he said, religion is an insult to human dignity. With or without it, you would have good people doing good things and evil people doing evil things. But for good people to do evil things, that takes religion. And what you have here...
that's brilliant.
What you have here is these other people that you mentioned that are giving this lady a hard time. You have good people doing bad things because of religion. It's the only time you see a good person do a bad thing.
Yeah, and the sad part is so many of them absolutely believe their religion and are okay with doing something that, myself, and I know you as well as an atheist, you would never do anything harmful to another human being because as atheists, as humanists, that just morally, we can't cross that line.
I grew up...
Say, oh, well,
Jen, I grew up thinking that I was, I guess, better than a lot of people. I grew up in a religion, as I said, the Mormons, until 1979 that didn't allow the male members of the church who were colored to be part of the priesthood, but yet they'd let a white boy at 12. That's when you can get your priesthood calling. And all 12-year-olds in the Mormon church get their priesthood calling. Well, I grew up thinking that I was better because I was born white and I was better than the Muslims. I was better than the people in Africa. And I didn't really give a shit about any of those people. So if something bad happened over there and it happened to make it to my ears, I could relegate it to the back of my mind. It didn't affect me emotionally because I knew that, this is the promised land. Missouri is actually, where the Garden of Eden is going to be. The new Garden of Eden, the new world is going to headquarter there when Christ comes back. And so that's no shit. That's why in Missouri, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure I'll get a call or two, but the state of Missouri, the Mormon church owns more land than the state owns in Missouri. And it's because they believe it's the promised land. It is the Garden of Eden. It is the place where the second coming will come. It is Zion. And so, because that's where Joseph Smith died and, all that horse shit. But
Actually, this is incredibly fascinating to me because, to be honest with you, the only thing I really know about the Mormon Church is what I've learned from the TV show Big Love. So, my knowledge of the Mormon Church is based on a TV show that was completely fictional and intended to do with polygamy. So, seriously, that is my only real knowledge of the Mormon Church. So.
Well,
that's fascinating. I had no idea.
Yeah, the Mormon Church is horrid, morally horrid. It's repugnant religion, and anyone with a fucking computer and an internet connection can verify that it is probably, to me, the most demonstrably false religion on the planet. It is so easily proved wrong that you can actually prove it fucking wrong. You can prove it without a shadow of a doubt. And so and the Mormon answer to that is faith. And I sent letters. The Mormon Church has two groups that are the apologetics for the Mormon Church. And when I was becoming, a free thinker, I sent letters because I couldn't understand how come Joseph Smith had all these wives. How could he have a 14-year-old wife? How can he practice polygamy and how can some of the women in the church have polyamory, and how could that be? That goes against God's will. And then you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together and you find out, well, my dad, if you ask him right now today and you said, what do you think about polygamy? He'll go, oh, that's immoral. You're supposed to have one woman. You're not supposed to lust after another woman. You're just supposed to have one woman. You're never supposed to touch yourself. Don't even bathe long down there. And you're supposed to have one woman. Well, Dad, what then do you get when you go to heaven? Oh, we get multiple wives, but there won't be any jealousy. Christ takes that away. Well, what do you get? That is the doctrine, the official canonized doctrine of the church. My mom says to me, I said, Mom, where do you think I'm going to go now? Because I've denied the Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost, or whatever the fuck he is, Casper. And she goes, well, you're going to outer darkness. She has a hard time saying hell. And I said, so you'll never be able to talk to me again? And she goes, that's right. And I said, how will you? And she's such a sweet person. Okay. If you met her, you'd love her. She has that kind of heart. She'd,
yeah.
You hear people that would take their shirt off if you needed a shirt. She would take her shirt off. She loves people, and she's such a beautiful woman, internally and externally. And she goes, well, I said, well, how can it be heaven to you if you have a son that's in hell? And she goes, well, Jesus is going to take it away. I won't remember you existed.
Oh.
And I went, what the fuck? Oh, so you've created an answer to the problem of watching your family writhe in hell. Is your answer is Jesus? I said, is that doctrinal? I just know it. She's so soft-spoken. If you met her, you'd love her. And one day you'll meet her. But she's so soft-spoken. She's so sweet. My mom, she's a little bitty thing, like 5'1", tiny as heck. And she, hi, Jen. You are so pretty today. And that's how she is. She's so soft-spoken. She would give everything to help someone out. But yet she has some batshit crazy ideas, and she's worried. She's cried to me on the phone about the fact that she's losing me forever. It's made me cry.
Oh, that's rough.
And religion.
I'm so sorry. That's rough.
But it's ultimately, I'm not worried. She's not going to live in writhe in pain over the fact that her son's in hell. She is right now, and that should be accountable at the doorsteps of religion. Religion has taught her that her son has blasphemed. He's a piece of shit. He's going to hell, and he's not going to suffer for 10 years or 100 years or 3,000 years. His sin of questioning God is so horrid that you will never see him again. He will suffer for eternity. And what crime is worthy of that? How can you call your God good and moral and say that he's worthy of eternal punishment, indefinite, infinite punishment? How can you, how do you rationalize that as an adult? I don't get it. I know I ranted.
That's okay. I've got a little thing to interject because I've got some very religious family, and a comment came in on one of my Facebook posts today. I had posted this picture, and it says, statistically, I am less likely to get divorced. I am less likely to be a criminal. I am less likely to have an abortion. I am less likely to have a pregnant teenager. I am less likely to beat my children. I am more likely to be financially secure. I am more likely to be well educated. I am an atheist. I am not only good without a God, I am better. So I had posted that and said, I am better. And so my Uncle Richard posted, his comment to that was, if you think you are good without a, in quotation marks, God, then you make yourself your own God. I only say that you have no idea meaning of what good is or what really makes anyone good. So apparently I have no idea what good really is.
And this has he not heard about the food for the children? You know,
I did. I told him, because he was talking about that I have no idea what good is. And so I told him about our WIC program, and I was talking about all the ideas that we have, all the good that our group is doing. And so, yeah, that was what he came back with, that I have no idea what good really is. And I'm trying to make myself my own God. Yes, I do believe that I am my own God because I have control of my life and I make my own choices. I decide what's good for me. I decide what I don't like. And so, yes, I am my own God. Or if you ask my kids, they'll tell you when they were little and they would start acting up, or they would come home from school and ask about God stuff. And I used to tell them all the time that I am God. But yeah, so apparently I have no idea what good is because I'm not a Christian.
I'm with you. Oprah wants you in her box. And I'm not talking about that box. She actually had an interview, and it has made worldwide headlines. Interviewed the lady that swam from Cuba to the coast of Florida without
Can we just pause for a minute and talk about how fucking awesome of a feat that was? And it wasn't even her first try. She had done it like numerous times. She's actually older than me. I mean, she's been trying to do this for years and finally accomplished it. So pat on the back to her. Fucking awesome that she accomplished her goal. That was badass.
And she did it
Sorry, go ahead.
And but no, that doesn't need to be on the side burner. You're absolutely right. It was an amazing feat. She did it without a cage. She did it nonstop. And she did it without sleep. And she swam from Cuba, which I think is about 90 miles, to swam. Now, driving wouldn't be so much of a feat, or riding in a boat, but she swam. And not only do you have two issues to overcome in that swim, and most people don't know this, but you've got two ocean currents that cross there. You've got the current from the Atlantic and the Gulf, which joins the Pacific, that crossed there, which means she got off course by a lot, because you can't stay in a straight line when you hit that current, that Gulf Stream current and the Atlantic current. You can't. And so what an amazing thing. And it inspired millions, and it made worldwide news. But then she gets on Oprah, and Oprah says something about religion, and this lady says, well, I'm an atheist. And she goes, oh. And the lady goes, but you know what? The world, I'm just in awe. I'm in awe of nature. I'm in awe of people. I'm in awe of space. And she goes, oh, you're in awe. Well, that means you're not an atheist, because atheists can't be in awe. You know, because we're busy. Yeah, we're busy
totally
eating babies.
To the awe and wonders of the world. We're brain dead. We don't see any of that. Please.
Oh, fuck
Oprah's
her.
been out of touch for years, and I said this because I actually had posted one of the articles that went out, and I used to watch Oprah. I thought she was interesting. Loved that it was a strong woman, and she was getting the news out there. But I knew she had lost touch years ago, and I'm talking about way before her whole let's promote The Secret which is another one of those crazy woo-woo things. But I was watching this fashion show that she was doing, and Oprah was just astonished that you could buy a pair of jeans for just $100. And I remember sitting in my living room watching that episode going, she is completely out of touch with America. If she thinks a pair of $100 jeans is cheap, and if she couldn't believe that you could actually find a pair of jeans for $100, I knew at that moment that she'd completely lost touch with reality, and everything since then that's come out of her mouth.
My wife could go to Goodwill today and get you 10 fucking pairs of jeans for $100. That'd be like a new wardrobe for
get
2
20
kids.
Pair, maybe even 40. But
yeah, that's fucking crazy.
And I thought, geez, that the majority of the people that are watching her show in that moment were probably people in the poverty line. And in their heads, they're thinking, wow, if I can't afford a pair of $100 jeans, then I'm probably not good enough. And that irritated me so bad that she had said that. And then she promoted The Whole Secret, which I had a family member who I love dearly that sent it to me, and I watched it. And it was fascinating. It was a lot of positive thinking. And I do agree with positive thinking. I think if you wake up in the morning and you walk out the door with a smile on your face, you're going to have a better day than if you wake up and you walk out the door with a frown. If you walk down the street with a smile on your face, you're going to get smiles in return. People are going to be kind to you. If you walk around grumbling and your head down, you got a frown, then people are either going to be afraid of you or they're not going to want to talk to you. I mean, to me, that's just common sense. Being positive, that's a good thing. I'm all for being positive. I'm a total, glass half full kind of girl. I always see the good in everything. But what scared me was this concept and the secret of she didn't actually, no action was needed. It's kind of like prayer. All you got to do is pray. That's what the secret was telling people. Make yourself a board, put little pictures on it of what you want in life. You don't actually have to go out there and get an education or work for it. Just think that's what you want, just like prayer. I'm just going to pray that it's going to happen. I'm not actually going to act on anything. I'm just going to pray and it's going to miraculously happen. And that shit annoys the fuck out of me.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just because it goes back to the not educating people and this ridiculous ideal that you just pray for what you want. You think about what's good. If you're a good person, it's just going to miraculously happen. And that's not the world we live in. If we did not take action when North Carolina froze those WIC vouchers, there were families out there that wouldn't have had formula for their kids. Sitting around praying for it to get better does nothing. So all those churches, and you know who you are out there, that sat around and prayed at your little service on Wednesday night about God, please fix the government, fix this situation so babies are fed. Your prayer didn't do shit. Those of us that don't believe in a God, those of us that believe in action, that believe in humanity, that believe in doing good, are the ones that stood up and we provided formula for those mothers. And so really pissed at Oprah. So fuck you, Oprah, for minimalizing this beautiful, wonderful woman that worked hard, that had a goal, that kept doing it. And then you belittled the fact that she didn't believe in the same God you did. And the fact that Oprah doesn't think atheists can be in awe, well, to me, whatever. I roll my eyes at that shit because Oprah's ridiculous. She lives in a $50 million home and has no fucking clue of what the world is really like.
You know what?
And so
you're absolutely right. And I used to be there, and I was there all the way up through my, year 37 of my life. And I honestly felt like that I was actually doing good. And I honestly would tell somebody, call them up and go, hey, John, I just wanted you to know that I put your name in our prayer request at church, and everybody prayed for you. And I even fasted Sunday, and I've been praying for you. It's absolutely the least fucking thing you can do. There's a quote by someone called Anonymous, and I don't know his name, but it sounds familiar. It's used a lot. And he says, 2 hands working accomplish more than 1,000 clasped in prayer. And your 2 hands, Jen, did just that. Your 2 hands in the hands of your son and the hands of all those people that donated, which I want to talk about just for a second, and the hands of your husband, they did more than the thousands of prayers that you know for a fact went out last week when it was announced that there would be no more WIC in the state of North Carolina. and your hands actually got shit done. Now, I want to talk about something. You know, I don't know if anybody's noticed the decline and the horrors that is the economy since about 2007. And if you haven't noticed, then you can ignore this part, fast forward. But if you have noticed, and I believe most of you have, and I'm kind of talking facetiously, is that right now people are unsure. They're insecure with the government shutdown. They're insecure with their jobs. They're insecure with life in general. Okay, people are scared, more scared than we've probably been in our lifetimes, because most of us, didn't suffer the Great Depression. So we are worried. We have a government that is willing to, for religious reasons, true religious reasons, because we can't have this communist African president in office, and we'll do whatever it takes at the cost of whoever to ensure that he can't get anything good done. And so everybody's in a state of, insecurity. And during this time of insecurity, money's tight. Cigarettes have gone through the roof. Alcohol's gone through the roof. Gas prices have gone through the roof. Food prices have gone through the fucking roof. And groceries. And people said, you know what? I think I can, instead of eating Kraft macaroni and cheese tomorrow night with Spam, I'm going to eat the fucking generic Sam's Club brand. And I'm going to give that $5 to the Western North Carolina Humanists, and we're going to feed some fucking kids. And those people, if they were here right now, I'd fucking hug them, because I love you. I love the fact that you would go beyond the call of duty, that you didn't take the easy way out and say a prayer, that you instead took money off your table, money that you could have used to put gas in the car tomorrow, and you gave it to feed a child. You fucking rock. You're my fucking hero. I don't care if you gave $2 or $5 or $500 fucking dollars. You fucking rock. You're my hero, and I love you. From the bottom of my heart, I love you.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Like I said, I was brought to tears several times. It's just the comments and the amount of people that donated, and the what can I do, and when I noticed that these donations came from like California and Florida and Connecticut, and so I started telling people, hey, okay, so WIC has unfrozen the vouchers. They miraculously found some money. Go back to your area, find out in your area if there's a food pantry program for students in your school. Go back and find out in your area what's going on, and do the same. Because if each one of us just donated a little, if we just gave a little, there would be no hungry child in our country. There would be none if everybody just gave a little. I hear all the time, oh, well, I feel bad because I could only give you $1 or $2. Well, you know what? If everybody in this country gave just $1, we would solve the hunger problems in our country for probably a year.
We could solve the medical problems. We could solve so much. Mm-hmm. Education is key.
What is the big deal about swearing to God in the first place? Why does swearing to God mean you're going to tell the truth? Wouldn't affect me. If they said to me, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to help you God, I'd say, yeah. I'll tell you about as much truth as the people who wrote that fucking Bible. How do you like that? Huh?
And by the way, we're Atheists On Air. We thank you for listening. Our number to call in is 828-565-1, the numeral 1, AOA. That is 565-1262. We thank you for listening and appreciate your support and your patience with us as we grow and learn how to present information in a way that you'll accept, that's entertaining, all the while educational. And I just want to, I'm not ending it. I just wanted to let you know that we appreciate it, and we'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to tell us off, or if you're a Christian and you'd like to ask us a question, or you have a comment about the show or anything, please feel free to call in and leave us a message. Do note that anything you leave on the message, we may use in the program. I didn't mean to derail you there, but
no, you absolutely didn't. I'm so glad that you said that, so people they know how to contact us. It was just amazing, and it really showed atheists, humanists, skeptics, free thinkers at our finest. That was that moment that I got to see us at our core, at our best, at truly who we are on the inside. And I've yet to meet an atheist or a humanist or a skeptic or a free thinker, whatever label it is that you use. I've yet to meet one that was like, oh, well, fuck humanity, Sadly, Christians have this kind of ideal that, Jesus is coming back in their lifetime, which I've been hearing that for 40 years now. And that's been being said for, a couple thousand years. But anyways,
you're right.
But atheists, we're the ones that stand up and say, hey, we see a need. Let's meet it. What can we do to better our society? What can we do to better our future? What can we do to better education? What can we do to better women's rights and gay rights? And every day that I wake up, I am so thankful and so proud to be an atheist. We are an awesome group of people. The people that I get to work with, people like you, those that have donated, others within our groups, people that I've met across the country.
The combined value is amazing. The combined value is overwhelming because you never feel like a stranger. If you happen to be listening in and you've heard this podcast and you just want to reach out, go to your meetup page and see if there's any atheist groups in your area. If you happen to be in the Carolinas, we already love you. And we would invite you to come to the Western North Carolina Humanists, or even if you're in South Carolina, we'll forgive the fact that you live there. And so
we can recommend groups. There's Piedmont Humanists.
Yeah.
There's Upstate Atheist. Of course, you're always welcome to attend our events. In fact, we have a picnic coming up, not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday, October 26th, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to be at Recreational Park Pool Shelter number 3. It's actually in the same complex as Western North Carolina Nature Center, so just type that into your GPS. It's funny because the address is 66 Gaseous Creek, which somebody pointed out earlier today that sounded kind of creepy. This close to Halloween, there was sixes and gashes. But yeah, just type in WNC Nature Center into your GPS. It'll take you right to it. When you pull into the parking lot, you'll go over this little bridge. If you look to your right, there's a pool, and there's this huge gazebo in the paved area. You'll see signs. That's where we're going to be. Come join us, hang out, meet some new friends, talk to some old friends. This picnic will be catered. We're asking for a recommended donation of $8 for adults and $4 for children 12 and under. We will accept cash, check, and credit cards. If you cannot afford to pay, no worries. You're still welcome to come.
Fuck
and eat.
yeah!
Everybody is welcome.
Nobody's going to come up to you and hamper you over the money. So please,
it's
please
a recommended
come.
donation. The money that we gather and things like this go towards guest speakers and events that we do, programs that we have, and not just like the Operation Formula or Feed the Children, but we also provide scholarships to Camp Quest for children in our area. So the monies that we raise do go to a good cause.
We support the local Secular Students of America, or the Secular Student Association. We do that locally, and so your money doesn't go to make sure that my Yugo has better tires on it. So
yes, nobody within our organization collects a paycheck. I actually made that quite clear with the Operation Formula. Everything that we do within this organization, everybody who is involved are all volunteers. Nobody collects a paycheck. We don't give out gas vouchers or reimburse for travel expenses or meals or anything. I mean, seriously, every dollar that you donate goes to something good. Now, granted, sometimes it goes to like paper and ink to print up freebies that we give out But again, that's still a great cause. Oh, and by the way, there are vegan options will be available at this picnic. So we'll have everything for people if you're gluten-free or gluten intolerant, if you're vegan, vegetarian, if you're a carnivore, whatever it is, there will be a food option for you. These are a ton of fun. We just come, we eat, we hang out, we talk. We've got folks from South Carolina, folks from Tennessee that will be coming, and it's a ton of fun. These picnics are great. We used to just do one a year. Now we do two, but they're lots of fun.
I'm not going to make a big deal of your yawn just now, but I did notice it. That 30 minutes of sleep, that 30 minutes of sleep, that's catching up with you. I knew it would.
Actually, I think the yawning is coming from the amount of allergy pills that I took today, because every time the weather changes, every time it's a new season, I have a whole new slew of allergies that kind of pop up, and it's so much fun. I'm pretty much allergic to everything, including animals, which we have a dog and a cat. Well, we have a cat. My husband and I have a cat. Our youngest son brought home a dog, and then our oldest son, Stephen, was visiting earlier. He brought over his dog, so the dogs could play. But I usually have a house full of animals, and I'm allergic to anything with fur, feathers, you name it. I'm allergic to it. I'm allergic to mold and dust and like everything in between.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, every time the weather changes, we get a new season. I have a whole new thing of allergies that spring up. But after about a month or two, my body seems to kind of adjust. But I've been popping allergy pills like they were Pez.
I know that if you will just get Garrett to give you some penicillin, all this will go away. It may not make you feel better, but I promise you he'll feel better. So it has an effect on someone either way. And so just a little penicillin goes a long ways.
I'm sure he won't complain. In fact, earlier he was looking up. And he's going to totally kill me for telling this on air to like the world. But I walked through the living room earlier, and he was like giggling, and he was like calling me over. I'm on the phone with you. I'm trying to do this podcast, and he's like motioning me to come over. He found this website where people took pornography pictures and put famous people's faces on the bodies, and most of which were horribly silly. But he was thoroughly entertained for about 2 hours with that. And I kept hearing him like cracking up in the living room. And so I did, when I walked through, he like motioned me over and he's like, you have to see this.
Every time I hear that word pornography, it has a bad, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth because of the way I was brought up. That was evil. You could get addicted to it. My dad told me I was of the age when Ted Bundy got caught and got electrocuted, miles from my house in Florida. And he said, Ted Bundy, his downfall was pornography. He got addicted to the pornography.
Wow.
And I remember that, as an adult, decades later, I go, wow. And so I wish they would call it funography or something else to take that bad, when you say pornography, people kind of, and so it would be better if you said funography or fuckography or something, that didn't have that negative baggage that comes along with it, at least for the religious people. So if you're a Christian,
well, as a woman, when I talk about pornography, even with some of the liberal women, the feminists, they'll cringe or look at me evil. Personally, I don't have an issue with pornography. If you're talking about children or unwilling participants, then we have a problem. That's a crime. And if I catch you, you should be hopeful that police show up before I beat your ass. But I personally don't have a problem with pornography. I'm a very visual person. And so pornography is great foreplay for someone like me who is very visual. And I don't see a problem with it if it's, consenting adults. And
I don't either. I
enjoy it. I like looking at naked people. I'm not going to lie. And if I hear that a celebrity has a naked picture out there, I Google it like instantly from my phone. I actually have the Newsik app on my phone. I'm not trying to plug pornography on our podcast, but I do. I actually have that app on my phone, and occasionally that gets used. But I don't have an issue with pornography. I remember seeing like Playboy magazines as a kid, and was totally fascinated by the naked body. I will say that I think naked women are much sexier than naked men.
Oh,
sexy
absolutely.
men out there. I'm not saying
Absolutely.
that you're not hot or sexy, but I do personally find a woman's body much more sexy and sensual, and so
Absolutely.
I prefer to look at those. But I don't have a problem with being nude. I don't have a problem with seeing nude, and I definitely don't have a problem with pornography. And in fact, I've been photographed naked a few times, so I just don't have an issue with it.
Daryl Ray wrote a book called Sex and God, and I've recommended it. I've bought it for friends and family. It is an amazing book, and it kind of gives you a taste of different areas of the world. And because they weren't indoctrinated with the same beliefs you have, they end up doing things different. Sex is more free. Sex is more, it's not this hush-hush, evil, nasty thing of the devil, save it till marriage, which I never made sense of. And it's a brilliant book. And Daryl Ray was at a conference recently. It was my first conference, the Aposticon, that I talked about earlier tonight. And he talked, he actually gave away, he did a talk, but he also gave away many vibrators to many people in the audience. And I thought that was incredibly nice. And he's trying to take that stigma that comes along with pornography and sex and nudity and those things. And people go, well, that's of the devil. And oh my gosh, you're going to ruin America. No, people are fucking anyway. You know, our most religious states have the worst rate of rape, child abuse, sexual abuse, the worst rate of teen pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases. And a lot of people go, well, you know, correlation, causation, argument. And I go, you know what? Okay, so they're also the poorest states, and so they have more religion. Well, maybe they're poor because they have fucking religion, because they aren't into the sciences. They aren't, you know, so I do draw a correlation to the causation of indoctrination between the shit that is worthless that you're taught to be abstinent. You know, Texas, Rick Perry took out sex education in schools in the state of Texas, and he adopted the abstinence only program and the chastity program,
which doesn't work.
Yeah, and
statistics have shown.
Well, yeah,
it doesn't work.
He fucked himself.
Gosh, sorry. Speaking of abstinence, have you seen that video on YouTube? The "fuck me in the ass because I love Jesus."
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Any of you listening out there, if you have not seen that, go to YouTube, type in "fuck me in the ass because I love Jesus." It is one of the most hysterical videos that you'll see. The song is very catchy. You'll find yourself singing it for days. But sadly, it is so true. There's this misconception that as long as you don't have,
vaginal
penetration, that it's not really sex. And they're finding all these young girls out there that have STDs in their anus, in their mouth, because, you know, that's not considered sex. And so it's okay. And so they're not using protection and they're getting STDs. And that just, that saddens me.
Because it's innate.
I raised my kids that sex was good. It needed to be consensual. I taught my boys to respect women. And was thrilled, a little bit creeped out, because it's always weird when your kids come to you and ask you sex questions. Well, a mother with her son coming to me asking about, oral sex was a bit odd. And I just kind of was like, that's probably more of a dad question, but was so thankful that my son had come to me and said, hey, I want to make sure I'm pleasing the woman that I'm with. You taught me that it's mutual. It should be, mutually beneficial, mutually gratifying. And so he came to me and actually wanted to know, how to properly eat pussy, basically, to just kind of break it down there. And he wanted to know. He wanted to make sure that he was pleasing his partner.
That's got to be, Jen, that's got to be the title of this podcast, How to Eat Pussy.
Yes, how to eat pussy. And so I was like, your dad's really good at that. Go talk to him. But just so thankful that my kids, my boys, actually cared enough about the women, girls, whatever, that they were sleeping with, that they wanted to make sure that they were enjoying it. And my youngest, who would kill me if he ever listened to this podcast, but he told me recently that that he refuses to get off until he knows that his girlfriend has. And I just think that's awesome.
Oh, I fucking admire it. I admire it because, you know, I was blessed by Jesus to have a 9-inch tongue and could breathe through my ears. And so it is a priority of mine to make sure that no matter how quick I'm going to be when I'm in, it won't matter because she'll have already completed her rounds.
She will have gotten hers. Yes.
Right.
Which, you know, and again, that goes back to, you know, within our community with being atheists, is that we're so open to all that and making sure that everybody is happy and enjoying it. And that's so important. I actually got my first vibrator a little over 3 years ago. I'd never had one. Never really saw a need for it. But I think everybody who knows me has already learned about this because I've been posting about it on Facebook constantly for a couple of years now. But once I hit 40, my sex drive went through the roof. And so my husband bought me a vibrator, and we've thoroughly enjoyed that together. And I don't know if it's just a hormonal thing because I've hit my middle age, whatnot, or if it's just that I've hit 40 and things sag and I've got stretch marks and, you know, whatever. And at this point in my time, I'm just like, whatever, I don't give a shit. But I really enjoy sex, and I'm so thankful that I'm married to someone who's not a religious nut, that is an atheist, that is open-minded, that we can sit down and discuss what excites us, what gets us off, you know, what we're into, and we can be out in public, and I can tell him. I'd be like, hey, that girl or that guy or whatever, don't know why, but, you know, I'm attracted to them, they're turning me on, and then that turns into, you know, playtime later, and it's fantastic. And
without fear of demoralization and without fear of retaliation.
There's no judgment
and rejection. And if we could all be honest, it would make it so much better. Your sex lives would be better. My marriage has turned into the fucking bomb since I became an atheist, and she was 3 years after me, but it became a bomb because I enjoyed life. All of a sudden, things were important to me. Taking care of people that didn't happen to have my wholesome and white skin. People that happen to be, you know, descendants of Cain and Ham. Those black folks that just aren't as valuable as us white and delightsome, as it says in the Book of Mormon.
Oh, the choice of religion.
It's just amazing. So sex life, everything's gotten better. And you know what? We ought to do a show on sex. And
I think that would be a fantastic idea because I've hit an age where it's funny because I actually get private messages on Facebook, some of which are weird and creepy. And we could actually do an entire show just on the weird-ass Facebook messages I get. But I get women my age and younger that ask me questions all the time. It's so funny. My youngest son actually unfriended me on Facebook last year. He was a senior in high school. And I had been working on this project about slut shaming. And so I had posed half nude in several pictures. And I had, you know, signs on my body, one of which I used my hands to cover my nipples, but you could basically see my boobs. And I was wearing jeans, but they were unbuttoned all the way down. I didn't, you know, show too much, but I showed quite a bit. And there was a sign, and it had a donkey and an elephant, and it said, "Keep your party out of my pants." And I did a bunch of those, and I was posting them on Facebook. And it was right after this article had come out about women getting vaginal rejuvenation surgery. I am all for women who want plastic surgery. If it makes you happy, you feel better, your body, your choice. But this particular new surgery that came out was really offensive to me because basically this surgery was making the JJ look like a Barbie. Like they were removing all the skin and the folds and everything to make it completely smooth, which to me has to totally ruin sex for you. But it bothered me. And this ideal that women's, you know, vaginas should look like what men have seen in a porn magazine, which, let's face it, all that shit's airbrushed.
Right.
It really offended me. And so I had started doing these posts about being proud of your vagina. There was a website, and it's been too long, and I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of it. It was basically about women being proud of their vaginas. And so women were taking pictures of their vaginas and posting it online and having a comment next to it. And some of them were younger women putting it up and saying, I'm kind of embarrassed of mine. Does it look okay? It was actually this really beautiful thing. And so I had taken a picture of my vagina and I put it on the website, and I had posted all over Facebook that I had done it and that every woman should be proud of her vagina. And I went off on these rants, and it went on for a couple of weeks. But so, needless to say, my youngest son, who was a senior in high school at the time, unfriended me on Facebook. Not so much because I did it, but because he went to school, and a couple of girls that he went to school with came up to him and said, "Tell your mom that she's my hero. She is so awesome." And he was like, "What did she do?" And so they went off on this rant about, I was posting, I posted a picture of my vagina on this website, and I was talking about all vaginas were beautiful and every girl should be proud of their vagina. And they were like, "Tell your mom that I'm proud of my vagina too." And my son just stood there mortified and came home and he was like, "Fuck you, you're not my friend on Facebook
Oh my
anymore.
gosh.
I don't ever want to hear about your vagina as long as I live." Now, fast forward, I guess it's been, about 8 months. I want to say about 8 months ago. He has since refriended me on Facebook and now tells me that he's proud of me, and he's thankful that these young girls, these 17, 18-year-old girls, read my post and were like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to look like, whatever porn star is out there.
Right.
That it's okay that all vaginas are beautiful." And so, I would love to do a show about sex and sexuality and bodies, because I think Americans are repressed. And I think if everybody was having great sex, we wouldn't have nearly the problems in our country that we're having. Because everybody would be too happy to fight.
I agree. I think there is repression, and I think that repression leads to a lot of the sexual abuse we see. Because
absolutely.
And I know it's true in the Catholic faith. We've seen it over and over and over. I want to talk to, if by chance there is a Christian that has made it through this far in the program and hasn't turned us off and been praying for us since. I don't know that anybody knows this, that most people don't realize this, but the father of the Christian religion, the Judaism, because even Muslims is a Judaish religion. It's a religion that was inspired by the Judaism. Well, if you are a Jewish person and you're an Orthodox Jew, which means you follow, the way I understand it is you follow the Orthodox teachings of the church, they have a practice that involves a moil, and a moil is a specialized calling in their religion. And they are the ones that brought about circumcision. When Abraham was spared having to kill his son, the next thing that he was told is, "Hey, I accidentally put too much skin on the penis in my great wisdom and perfect plan for the earth, and you're going to need to take those penis tips off. But they are valuable, and you can get women with them. You can get women, who was it? David brought the 700 Philistine penis heads to the king so that he could marry, whoever. Either way, these penis heads, they've been cutting them off in America forever, and a lot of people say it's for cleanliness or whatever. But in the Jewish faith, and it's still, a hot topic, and it's still going on in America today, and this is sick, okay? But they take a child and with no anesthesia, okay? And they take a razor and they cut around the pubis, the head of the penis. They pull the skin up over the head, and then they make an incision all the way around. But a doctor in an office will be using gloves and now still no anesthetic. They're completely feeling all that pain. Over 9,000 nerve endings are being cut, and while the baby writhes in pain, even though he won't remember it. I argued with a friend, and I know I get sidetracked, but I argued with a friend one time. He said, "They won't remember it." And I said, "Would you let a man rape your little baby, even though the baby's never going to remember it, you stupid motherfucker?" And he goes, "Well, that's different." And I said, "How is genital mutilation any different than being raped? They're taking a part of that human's body without their consent, without their acknowledgement, without anything, and going, 'Yeah, fuck you. You ain't going to remember this.' And they cut it off. But in the Jewish, if you're an Orthodox Jew, you call in a person called a moil, and he cuts that pubis, okay? Cuts around the pubis. and he sticks his mouth on it and he sucks it off. And
is that not the most disgusting thing ever?
And we protect it in America because of religious freedom. We protect that, and we protect those sick motherfuckers. And here's the worst part. If you think that's bad, it gets worse. They're actually killing babies. I know you can Google this. There was a case, a couple years ago where 2 babies died. There's hundreds been infected with diseases, herpes, syphilis, from a mohel who sucked the skin from an infant. And I believe that should be criminal. I believe that they should even go back and retroact it and go, you sick motherfucker. And right now in America, it's protected. I can't fathom that. Right now in some states, if you take a picture of your child in the bathtub, he could be 2 years old, and you happen, the shot includes his genitalia, and you post it on Facebook, you'll probably get a call from DCS. You could even face charges with the state attorney's office. But
yep.
if it's part of your religion, you're protected. Go suck the penis of a infant after you've massacred his penis, after you've abused him. Suck it off, give him a disease, and you are not held accountable. That is a fucking... It makes me want to throw a goddamn brick through the fucking window. Fucking stupid. How the fuck do you rationalize, justify that kind of action?
If you want to get good people to do wicked things, you need religion. What do I mean by that? I mean to say that when they see a newborn baby arriving in their life, if anyone's ever thought, even myself, well, maybe there is something to this. Look at the perfection of this little bundle. But they said, I tell you what, though, before we go any further, we need to get a sharp knife or a stone from somewhere and start hacking away at the genitalia of this little bundle. Because if we don't, we won't be doing God's will. Now, no moral person would do such a thing unless they thought it was divinely warranted.
Christopher, I've got to call you down on referring to circumcision as genital mutilation. My son cried more at his first haircut than he did at his bris. And statistically...
You weren't doing it right then.
Statistically, the only long-term effect that it seems to have on people is it increases their chances of winning a Nobel Prize.
I can't find the compulsory mutilation of the genitals of children as subject for humor in that way, or flippancy in that way. What if a Muslim was to say to you just now, my little girl cried more at her first haircut than when I cut off her clitoris? What would you think of me if I was to say such a disgusting thing? That a person as humane as yourself can sit here and think of that as a fit subject for humor shows what I mean. Religion makes morally normal people say and do disgusting and wicked things, and you've just proved my point for me.
I don't get it.
I don't either. And I actually had both my boys circumcised. It was a period of time where
I did too.
The doctors told me that was the right thing to do, and so I did. Probably going to get hate mail tomorrow, but it was a period in my life where
I didn't know better.
I felt like I was doing the right thing. But yeah, I've read that, and these infants are getting like herpes, and I'm just like, holy crap! How is that even fucking possible?
One recently, just this last month. The mohel did this, and within a week, the child had, this infant, this baby, had lesions on its genitals. Lesions. How? And they protect it. It's protected. It's okay. I don't get it. My dad, I said, why the fuck did you do this? Why did you not realize that this is stupid as fuck? And he goes, because it's not even a religious thing anymore. It started out religious, but now it's cleanliness. And I said, then why the fuck wouldn't you cut kids' ears off? Why not take our fingernails and toenails off? That's leftover remnants of evolution. We don't use our fingernails and toenails. We don't need them. So why the fuck not take those off too while you're at it? And And he didn't have an answer because he can't. It was like the homosexual question I asked him. He doesn't have an answer for that. Well, we'll understand the ways of God when we get there. Motherfucker, you ain't going anywhere. You're going to be dead just like me. Saw a quote the other day that said, I don't know who said it. I'll think of it eventually and I'll give them credit for it. But it said, I don't, how do you have, what was it? How is life meaningful if there's no life after death? And he said, well, it's meaningful because there's life now. I wasn't concerned in 1835 because I didn't exist. And after I'm dead here, I won't exist and I won't be concerned either. And so what we should be doing while we're here is bettering our fellow man and woman. We should be bettering society so that we can make the world a better place for people to live. And I believe that if you got rid of religion, this world, peace would reign. Because I think to the core of everybody, we have an innate desire in us, evolutionary, biologically innate desire to do good. We want to help somebody. We see somebody suffering, we want to help. But, in America, we go to Iraq and we kill people fighting over whose God's got the biggest dick.
Yeah.
So I have enjoyed the hell out of this. And
me too.
I know it's a long episode. I always enjoy
talking with you because, we start off on one topic and then it just kind of branches into so many different things. And I love that both of us have these rants we go off on. And now our listeners will know when they ask a question, they have no idea what's going to come out of our mouth. But I really enjoyed it. We had very similar childhoods, but yours was at the Mormon, mine was at a Pentecostal Christian. But those experiences molded us into who we are, and it's fun to talk about that stuff. And I hope our listeners get something out of it. I hope there are people out there that have had a background like ours that can relate and they feel better. They're like, okay, I'm not alone. I hope there are atheists out there that listen to us and they get excited. They're like, wow, they're doing shit. I need to do shit too. But it's awesome.
I want to plug though, if you're in the Triangle area, and I don't know what area that is, but it's in the Triangle of the Carolinas. That's
the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area.
Okay.
Just so you know.
That's the what is it called? It's on the back of the shirt I'm wearing right now. It is the
Triangle Freethought Society.
Triangle Freethought. They are awesome. They were at the convention. I got to meet them. They have been in the news. I didn't realize how much, but they had been in the news for years. They're a very organized group of heathens who eat babies and stuff, but they had some awesome shirts at the convention, at the Carolina Secular Convention, and I bought several of them. The one I'm wearing today has an image of the Bible opened up, with the cross, it has the cross on it, and it says under it, "Holy crap." And I couldn't have said it better, other than maybe saying "holy shit." But I love it. I think I'll wear it for my next DMV picture.
Fantastic.
I have enjoyed the piss out of this, Jen. I thank you for taking the time.
You're a lot of fun to talk to, and I love that we can sit down and bounce ideas around, and we get to say what we really think, and it's so much fun. It just really is so much fun. Join us on Meetup.
Find a group that you can relate to. Come visit all the groups. I promise you, when you show up, you won't feel like an oddball. It won't be like walking into the church that you've never been into for the first time and people kind of staring back. It'll be like, hey, what's your name? Yeah, John, welcome to the show. And you will feel like you've known them within 5 minutes. I promise you'll feel like $1 million that you've known these people for eons. And it's amazing.
You will find your second family. You will find them quick. And there is a group for everybody.
Well, I love my second family more than I do my first. And I'm very thankful for that. We'll see you next week, and it may be short, it may be long, but either way it's going to be entertaining and we'll have a lot of fun.
Oh, we'll absolutely have a lot of fun. You have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth next. So yeah, tune in just to hear what I have to say.
Yeah, somebody could call in and go, what did you have for lunch? Well, I had for lunch a ham sandwich, but the way the ham folded looked like a vagina, and then go off on a whole vagina discussion
That
for
could turn
30
into
minutes.
a 3-hour discussion right there.
Right.
Good night to all of our listeners. Thank you for listening, and call in. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, 828-565-1AOA or 565-1262. That's 828-565-1262.
The God excuse, the last refuge of a man with no answers and no argument. It came from God. Anything we can't describe must have come from God. Personally, folks, I believe that if your rights came from God, He would have given you the right to some food every day, and He would have given you the right to a roof over your head. God would have been looking out for you. God would have been looking out for you.